Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was tortured by his brothers and becomes the bearer of Holy Rainbow Dragon Part 1. Before we start, please go support PeladosapitoMedina for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Chapter 1. Issei is a boy who never had the love of a family. His two brothers was the attention of his family. They had everything they wanted, and even more so when they met two girls, or more specifically two demons. Hades. Her name is Rias Gremory. She is the younger sister of Lucifer, and Sona Sitri. Her sister is also Leviathan. They told her everything about the supernatural. And they told her that Ikki had a sacred gear, more specifically the boosted gear, one of the 13 long-eyes that can kill the gods, and Isai had a dragon-type sacred gear. He had the dragon queen Tiamat sealed, and his father was happy about that news, since his two favorite son had more technique and that sacred gear, and he became more arrogant. And my good, they told him that I did not have a sacred gear, that is why I received blows from them, leaving me on the brink of death, and when one day they got tired of me, they threw me on an island, and if I am totally hurt, they tortured me before bringing me here. But now I feel a little better since it took 3 hours to bring me here, and I healed a little, and I went to look for a cave, and I found one, but there was something strange, so I went to find out, and deeper inside it began to shine little by little in place. I was totally surprised what I was seeing with my own eyes. I am seeing a dragon. White color and gem around it and totally beautiful wings, and a boy who is also there. His hair color was dark blue, eyes the same color as her hair. I felt that this was calling me. I touched the tombstone and the light covered me completely and I fell unconscious, but a strange magic circle formed below my fallen body and I took with me a strange part without knowing that those days would change my life. That strange magic circle took Issei to a church, and due to the blow he woke up a little from unconsciousness and opened his eyes a little and saw that he was in another place and decided to get up and entered the place, but his body couldn't help as he was barely able to. He was 5 years old and had a more mature mind. And when he entered, he could see a blonde-haired woman who was on her back and in shape, who was praying, and Issei wanted to see that. He wanted me to help him since he only kept him awake because of his willpower. And I decided to get that girl's attention. Issei. Hey, can you listen to me? He said it with difficulty, and the blonde girl who heard that someone was behind them was a little surprised, but she decided who was behind her, and she could see a child who was only 5 years old. Brown, but she decided to answer. Hello boy, and what are you doing here? She said it calmly, and Issei could only look at her, and he had to admit that that girl was beautiful. Issei. Please help me, he said it weakly, and the blonde approached the boy. Okay, but what's his name? He said it with a serene and calm voice. Issei. My name is Issei. He said it with a smile, and finally he fell into unconsciousness, and the beautiful blonde with blue eyes only looked at him with a calm look since she felt that he was a human. I will take you with me, Issei, and I promise that I will protect you, and I don't know why everything is hurt, he said sadly, since he saw the infant's body that was all hurt, and from his back came out 12 white wings, and he left from there in an ace of light. In the sky. The blonde appeared again in an ace of light, and on her way she made a magic circle to her ear. Griselda can eat, please. She said it calmly, and the other person was happy. Griselda. Of course, my wife, I'm coming, she said it calmly, and Gabriel closed the communication. Then a blonde appears and kneels in front of the other blonde. Griselda. Yes, my lady Gabriel, what do you want? She asked Gabriel, but she saw the child in her arm who was hurt, and Gabriel gave him to her. Gabriel. Give him new clothes and let me know if he gets sick. I'll go talk to my brother. He said this with a smile and left Griselda alone with the child. He saw that he had more injuries under his clothes. Griselda. Who did that to you, little one, and why did my lady bring you to heaven? She said it somewhat curiously, but she left because she had to clean up little Issei. In Issei's mind, he was in a place where he had never been, since only his surroundings were white, and that already began to scare him, and he decided to walk a little, but it was the same result since it seemed that he was not moving. Issei. If there is someone, please help me, he said it shouted at that. He heard a voice that gave him a great chill and fear. Hey boy, what's going on here, he said it seriously, and Issei looked at who was telling him that, and he was very surprised because there is this dragon that he saw on that tombstone, and when he was speaking another voice was present, but this one was more peaceful. It seems that this boy broke the seal, he said it calmly. Issei looked, and it was also the same boy who was on the tombstone. Issei. Who are you? He said it calmly, and the other person made him calm down. Jesse. My name is Jesse Anderson, and this dragon is called the Rainbow Dragon, he said this with a smile as he approached Issei. Rainbow Dragon. And tell me boy, how could you find us? He said it seriously and his voice was imposing, and Issei just looked. Issei. The truth is I won't be. I was on an island that two demons left me, and then I went to look for a cave, and from there I saw a kind of path that shines, and when I got closer I saw you, but I felt that it was calling me," he said it calmly and receiving a nod from the two, since it made sense and more when he said that two demons left him. "Jesse. Tell me, Issei, why did they leave you, those two demons there?" He said it a little seriously since he was barely a child, and Issei decided to tell him his whole life, how he was the shadow of his two brothers, and how they had dragons inside them. That made Jesse surprised, since he didn't know that he suffered a lot, and it bothered those two demons. And if he had his body he would eliminate the underworld, but he decided to calm down, and the dragon was also like Jesse, he wanted to destroy the underworld, but he could not since he didn't have his body, but he and Jesse looked at each other and agreed. Rainbow Dragon. Boy knows what it means right now, right, he said it seriously, and Issei looks at him since he didn't understand anything. Issei. What does it mean? He said it curiously. Jesse. Issei, let me tell you a little about mine and my friend's story. He is a very powerful dragon, and is capable of defeating the two celestial dragons, and he knows them all as the Rainbow Dragon and the Dragon of Hope, but he told me he already wanted to rest and well, where did you find that tombstone? We have been sealed for more than 1200 years. I am already a soul here and very soon I will disappear. He said it with a kind smile, and Issei was more than surprised since he was more stronger than his brother's dragon, but he was sad because he was going to be left alone again. Issei. I see, then when you disappear, I imagine that the Rainbow Dragon is going to look for another carrier, right? He said it sadly and Jesse just smiles and looks at his friend, who nods and he touches Issei's man and he looks at him. Jesse. Issei is wrong, he stays with you now, he becomes your friend and companion, he said it calmly, and Issei couldn't believe it since there was a dragon inside him, but he doesn't have a sacred gear. Issei. But I don't have a sacred gear, how is it going to stay? He said it again sadly and the huge dragon approached. Rainbow Dragon. Issei, you are wrong, when you touched that tombstone there was the sacred gear which I am sealed, and now you are my bearer, he said it seriously, and Issei looked at him surprised since he could not imagine it, and with a voice full of determination he says. Issei. Jesse and you too, Rainbow Dragon, I promise that I will raise your name as high as possible, and that I will fear you a lot, as dragons should be feared, he said it seriously, and Jesse just smiled along with the dragon, since that was one of his dreams, but he couldn't because he got a heart disease. Jesse. You know, Issei, that was also one of my dreams, but I couldn't fulfill them because I had a heart disease, and now I know that someone can make them come true. Issei, I entrusted you with my dream, and it's time for me to say goodbye, my friend. And Issei, you came back strong and put my friend's name to the top, he said it with a big smile and disappeared in particular light, and Issei just looked at him sad, since he was very kind and generous and treated him like a brother, and the dragon was also sad, since he was one of his best wielders, and the only one who never saw him as a weapon. Since he always looked at him as a friend and brother, and Issei looks at him. Issei. You know, I'm going to fulfill Jesse's dream and mine since they are the same dream, and that's why I'm going to train hard to beat Big Red, and we'll keep the title, and we'll call ourselves the Rainbow Dragon and of Hope, he said it with determination, and the dragon just looks at him with a small smile, and remembered Jesse when he woke him up at that early age. Rainbow Dragon. Hey, see, is spoken made, I meant it seriously because of Issei's determination. Issei. Of course now we will be friends and companions, but I have to wake up since I'm in a church with that blonde, he said it seriously and calmly, and the dragon looked at him. Rainbow Dragon. Issei, you are wrong, you are not in the church now, you are in heaven, and the blonde who saved you was a seraph, and not just any seraph, she is the seraph Gabriel, the strongest in heaven, and the most beautiful, he said it seriously, and Issei could only nod in confirmation, since there was no point in being surprised by that. Since he already knew the existence of the supernatural, but he had this in one faction, and looked at his now friend. Issei. Hey, do you think it's a good idea to stay in the Angels faction? He said it somewhat seriously, and received a nod from his friend, since he knew that they were not that kind of person who only needed power. Rainbow Dragon. Yes, because one is still a human, and well, they can also train you, and well, they have to wake up. He said it calmly and received a nod from Issei since it was true. But Gabriella was walking calmly and saw a large door and entered, and when she entered she saw three people, Michael the leader of heaven and Raphael and Uriel who was looking at him, and she sits down. Michael. Tell me, Gabriel, why did you bring that child here? He was serious. Gabriel. I couldn't leave him there, he was totally hurt. He said it calmly. Raphael. But you could have cured him and left him in the church. I was saying it would be. Gabriel. I'm sorry, but my eyes didn't see the same thing, since I could have gone to his house and he didn't what I said would be. Uriel. Then you think about it, he was raised in heaven, Gabriel, that child has a family, I meant it seriously. Gabriel. So when he gets up I'm going to tell him everything and I'm going to leave him in the human world again, so I'm leaving, with your permission. He said it seriously and he left there in a flash of light. Michael. And the most likely ones are that they will make it one of their deck. He said it a little tired. Be real. Well, there's nothing you can do now, right? He said it carefree. So each seraph went and did his job. They appeared in front of a door and decided to open it and entered, and when he entered he saw his Queen of Hearts Griselda, who saw her lady. She knelt down and she passed in front of him. Gabriel. Can you get up, Griselda? He said it calmly and she listened to him. Griselda. Yes, my lady, but that child has many wounds on his body. She said it sadly and Gabriel also saw, and it was true, since he could only see from the outside and not that she was hidden. Griselda. I understand, Griselda can leave now, you can leave me alone with him, she said it calmly and received a nod from Griselda and left there. Then Gabriel waited 5 minutes, and when he did not feel Griselda's presence, he approached the door and a whisper, put a silent spell, and approached Issei and caressed his cheek, and I decided to wait until he woke up, and I didn't wait long since Issei was waking up little by little, and he looked around and looked at the blonde who had saved him. Issei. Where am I? He said it calmly as he was going to act crazy and saw the blonde approaching. Gabriel. Hello Issei, do you remember me? I am the person who saved you from the church. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. Issei. Of course, how could I forget the face of the person who saved me, and by the way, you didn't tell me your name. I was lying since I already knew her name. Gabriel, it's true, let me introduce myself, I'm Gabriel. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. Issei. But you haven't answered my question where I am. She said it calmly even though she already knew the answer. Gabriel. Issei, I'm going to tell you, but please I want you to control me when I tell you everything, and I'm sure you won't believe me, he said the last thing in a whisper. Issei. Well, it was Issei's simple word. Gabriel. I am not human, and Gabriel is one of the 4 great seraphim of heaven, and Issei is in heaven, he can bring you here to heal you. He said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei and surprised Gabriel since he didn't even want to. She made a surprised face, and when she was speaking, Issei interrupted her. Issei. Don't worry, I already knew about the supernatural, thanks to some demons. She said it somewhat seriously and received a nod from Gabriel, although she was a little surprised and sat next to Issei. Gabriel. Tell me little Issei, because he was all hurt. He said something serious and Issei starts to tell him everything, and Gabriel was surprised and sad, until tears came out in his eyes, since he never had the love of a family. I'm sorry, Issei, I didn't want her to remember again. She said it sadly, and Issei just stood on the bed and hugged her. Issei. That doesn't matter anymore, now I don't know what to do, he said something sad, and Gabriel looks at him and wipes his tear. Gabriel. Tell me little Issei doesn't want to join the angel faction, and I can also turn you into an angel, he said it with a smile, and Issei took this opportunity to see that he not only wants it with his sacred gear. Issei. But I don't have a sacred gear, I can't be of any use to you, he said it feigning sadness, and Gabriel grabbed his face and said with a very confident voice. Gabriel. Issei, it doesn't matter if you have or don't have dragon-type sacred gear, the only thing that counts is that you move forward and show your ex-family that you were not weak, and as always you have been watched, you should stop being that shadow and let it come to light, and they will very soon realize their own mistake and repent, and I don't care if they have it or not. I have my Queen Griselda and she doesn't have sacred gear, and I have my ace and she doesn't have it either. A sacred gear, and some of my brother doesn't have a sacred gear either, well some do have it. But he is treated in the same way as the rest, he said something serious, and Issei just stayed there, since that word touched his heart, and she shed tears and hugged Gabriel, and said thank you very much, since they are the second person who treated her. Hasty, since the first was Jesse, although he had to go and rest forever. Issei. Thank you Gabriel, thank you very much, and yes, I want to join the angel faction, and I promise that I will not disappoint you. He said it happily, and Gabriel just gave him a smile and took out a letter. Gabriel. Then let's go Issei, he said with a smile, and Issei could only nod and lay down on the bed again, and Gabriel puts a card and says one word, but the card was going to mind, but it stopped and shot out something that surprised Gabriel. Issei. What's wrong Gabby-chan? He said it curiously, and Gabriel just blushed a little. What did little Issei call him? Gabriel. It's nothing, it seems like it has a lot of potential, and that's why I'm going to try another card of mine. He said it with a smile, and even with his blush, and I tried one of his cards of hearts from him, but nothing happened anymore. That came out in Issei's body, and Gabriel just had to prove his last card was from his joker. It seems that I have to use my joker card, and it's strange that all my cards don't work from you, and I tried his card of joker, and it worked perfectly. That's it, Issei can take out your wings, he said it with a smile. Issei. And how do I do it? He looked a little curious and Gabriel just looked at him with a smile, and it was true, he didn't know how he could do it. Gabriel. I'm sorry I said it to create a minimum sphere of power and to transfer that small power to Issei, and he takes out a pair of completely light blue wings to Gabriel's surprise, since he has never seen that. Gabriel. Your Issei wings are light blue and not white. I was curious and decided to touch Issei's wings, and he liked them and grabbed Issei, as if he were a stuffed animal and put him on her chest. But he couldn't breathe. Issei. Gabby, I can't breathe, he said it somewhat blushing, and Gabriel heard that, and he said it to him, and Issei took a breath since he was going to die on those two mountains. Gabriel. Haha, sorry, I got very excited about those wings that decide to hug you. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. Issei. I understand and don't worry, tell me Gabriel, I found out that there were 14 Longinus and not 13, what happened to the other Longinus? He said it calmly even though he knew the answer, and Gabriel just looks at him, since she herself doesn't know the answer. Gabriel. That's right Issei, there weren't 13 Longinus, but there were 14 Longinus, but that Longinus was powerful, and that was also a dragon, and its last bearer of that Longinus was Jesse Anderson, that was its last bearer, since that sacred gear disappeared with him, but that dragon. He called it the Rainbow Dragon and of hope, he said it with a smile, and Issei just looks at Gabriel, since he didn't know whether to tell him or not that he was his bearer. Issei. I see, he said it calmly, and then a voice is heard in his head. Rainbow Dragon. Issei, if he wants, he can tell him that you are my carrier, one day he has to tell him, he said it in his mental link, and Issei could only nod and saw Gabriel. Issei. Gabriel, I love you, tell me a secret. He said it a little nervously, and Gabriel looked at him a little curiously. Gabriel. And what is Issei? She said it curiously and Issei took courage. Issei. Well Gabriel, in front of you, he is a rainbow dragon. He said it seriously, and Gabriel just looks at him with a smile, since he thought he was playing a joke on him. Gabriel. Come on Issei, the rainbow dragon has been disappearing for more than 1200 years. He said it with a smile, but then he heard a voice that gave him the chills. Rainbow dragon. Gabriel was bad, how could he not believe my bear? She said it with a smile, and Gabriel heard that voice, he only looked at Issei's arm of her, and had a colorful sphere that shines in Issei's hand of her, but he was more than surprised since Issei was not lying. Gabriel. Issei, you are his bearer, he said it with his eyes wide open and his mouth on the ground. Issei. Now if you believe me, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel just looked at him. It would be. Gabriel. When you were the bearer of the rainbow dragon, she said it seriously and somewhat curious, and Issei tells everything to Gabriel, since he did not want to have a secret with her, and Gabriel understood everything. Issei. Gabriel, I want you to train me, please, I don't want to be weak. He said it seriously and Gabriel just looks at him with a smile. Gabriel. Of course Issei, and I'm also going to present you the other Joker card from heaven, he said it with a smile. Issei. Thank you Gabriel, but I want no one to find out that I am the bearer of the rainbow dragon. He said it somewhat seriously and Gabriel looks at him. Gabriel. Issei, of the most facts I can, but not to heaven, since my brother will soon realize it and it is better to say yes. He said it with a sincere smile, and Issei could only nod. Rainbow dragon. Tell me something, Seraphim Gabriel, where is God, since I do T feel his energy from him. He was serious since he was one of his friends, and he was the one who helped him to make it a sacred gear, since he was poisoned and he was the only one who helped him, and Gabriel just lowers his head and decides to tell him everything that happened in the last Great War, since he doesn't know anything about it, and the dragon understood everything, that the 4 original Mayu died along with his friend, and Issei only hugged him. Gabriel. Rainbow dragon. I see, thank you for telling me Seraphim Gabriel, he said it somewhat sadly, and Gabriel could only nod, and they told him that he would wait for Issei outside. Since he wanted to train as quickly as possible, and told him that the closet has training clothes, and she told him that first she was going to call the Seraphim so that he could meet him and continue his training, and she left Hei and left Issei alone. Issei. It's ready, my friend. We're going to be a legend. I'm going to raise your name, and I'm also going to humiliate those 2 celestial dragons. He said it seriously and somewhat annoyed, since they were responsible for his friend's friend resting in peace. Rainbow dragon. Thank you Issei, she said it happily, and Issei could only nod and went to look for training clothes, but they were all white, but one piece of clothing caught his attention, and he decided to put it on since he really liked it, and it was white, and he decided to leave quickly, since he didn't want to make her wait. And when she came out, she saw Gabriel, who was sitting, and she saw Issei and smiled at him, since she knew he was wearing that training suit, and approached Issei, since he had a white trench coat that had a gold line along with some pants. White, but he also blushed. Issei. I'm ready Gabriel, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel could only nod with his little blush. Gabriel. Okay, those clothes look good on you, Issei. He said it with a smile. Issei. Well, the exorcist's clothes didn't fit me very well, and I decided to wear this one. I said it calmly. Gabriel. Then let's go, Issei is already waiting for us, and he will also meet 2 of my saints. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod and took out his wings next to Gabriel and flew away next to the training room. But the others angels saw Issei since those wings were beautiful, since not even an angel had those wings, and he was getting nervous, and Gabriel just looked at him with a small smile. Gabriel. What's wrong, Issei, are you nervous? He said it with a smile. Issei. Well, everything is looking at me, and I think it's because of these clothes and the wings. I said it a little nervous. Gabriel. It's something common since I'm the first angel who has those wings and also those clothes, since everyone wears the clothes of the exorcist, look, we're here. He said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei and landing, but Issei fell on his face. And Gabriel just looked with a smile since it was his first time of her with wings, and he remembered when she was little and also fell and decided to help him. Gabriel. Are you okay, Ice? She said it with a smile, and Issei looked at her with a chibi face. Issei. Of course, I always liked falling on the ground. He said it with a chibi face, and Gabriel only got a drop of an anime-style pseudo on him. Gabriel. Well, let's go inside, he said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. And so they entered, and when they entered they saw all the seraphim like Michael, Uriel and Raphael and Michael's Joker, Dulio Gesualdo, and the Queen and Gabriel's ace, Griselda Quarta together. They looked at them to feel that someone opened the door. They saw that it was Gabriel and a boy who did not know, of course, the exception of the seraphim and the Queen of Gabriel. And they saw that they arrived in front of them. Gabriel. Hello brother, how are you? She said it calmly and the seraphim saw her. Michael. Well, nothing good with the meeting we had a few hours ago. He said it with a smile and saw Issei and Michael approached him a little closer with the others, and Gabriel just looked and they nod. Issei. Nice to meet you, I'm Issei, I'm Gabriel's Joker, and I carried the rainbow dragon of hope. He said it while bowing. The others had eyes like saucers and their mouths to the ground, they heard everything well. This child was the bearer of the rainbow dragon, disappearing for more than 1200 years, and they all looked at Gabriel, and they agreed. Gabriel. Please tell me I heard wrong. He said it while still surprised along with the others. Gabriel. Yes, brother Issei is the bearer of the rainbow dragon. Before the others said anything, a voice was present and it gave a chill to everything. Rainbow dragon. Come on, don't be surprised Gabriel, don't stay like that, they took it almost the same way I left him alone. Now if everyone wanted to give him a heart attack, but it didn't work because Gabriel got tired of his performance and created a lot of light, since not even they stayed there and they all looked at him nervously because he knew the patience of Seraphim. Raphael. Sister, please put that spear of light away, she said it nervously, and Gabriel listened to her. But how are we going to be very surprised, and Gabriel did not know about a rainbow dragon 1200 years ago, she said it calmly. Michael. Yes, it is surprising, but maybe Gabriel has to leave him to the human world since his family may be worried, but he didn't finish since Issei interrupted him. Issei. I don't have a family, they left me because my 2 brothers were carriers of 2 dragons, Draig and Tiamat, and when they found out about that they threw me on an island and a magic circle was made and took me to Gabriel. He said it sadly because he had nothing, and the seraphim just looked at him sadly, but sadly since he knew how he has no family, since his father died in a civil war. Julio. Issei, I know how you feel, but my father died in a civil war. He said it sadly and Issei only saw Dulio with sadness. Michael. Sorry, young Issei, I didn't know, I said it sadly. Issei. That doesn't matter anymore, she said it calmly, even though she didn't tell him about her torture of her, and only Gabriel knew about it, but she promised him that she was N''T going to tell him anything. Gabriel. Well, let me introduce you, Michael is the leader of heaven, Uriel and Raphael, and they introduced themselves as I said ago, and Dulio is my brother Michael's Joker, and Dulio introduced himself, they are my Queen of Hearts Griselda Quarta, and my ace Marana, I said it with a smile, and they also introduced themselves. Issei. Nice to meet you, I hope we can get along very well, I said it happily. Everyone. Us too, he said it with a smile, and the Seraphs left since they had work to do and Issei understood since they were the highest authority and only Gabriel, Griselda, Marana and Dulio stayed. Marana. It's the first time I'm going to train a child, she said it with a funny smile. Issei. I'm not just any kid, I'm already received, but he didn't finish because he almost spilled the beans, and Griselda looked at him. Griselda. What was Issei going to say? She said it somewhat curiously and Issei looked at her. Issei. I wasn't going to say anything, I just want the training to start, he said it somewhat seriously and received a nod from everyone, but Gabriel approached Issei. Gabriel. First, Issei, I love you, give this as a gift, and Issei looked at her with curiosity, but unconsciously he was moving back and stood behind Mirana and Dulio, since Gabriel took out a sword, and the three of Hei understood why Issei came out of Hei. Issei, this is Ascalon, the dragon slayer. She said it with a smile, and Issei could only feel great fear in that sword, who he was not going to feel fear for that sword if he was only a dragon child. Issei. But if I'm a dragon, that wouldn't kill me, he said scared. Griselda. Don't worry, Issei, after a while you get used to it, she said it with a smile, and Issei just looked at Griselda, and Gabriel approached Issei and gave him the sword, and Issei grabbed it, although he was still a little nervous about the sword. Issei. It's a little heavy, I said it calmly. Dulio. Hey Issei, why don't you take out your sacred gear and use it so you can save it whenever you want? He said it calmly and received a nod from Issei since it was true, but he had a problem with how to release his sacred gear, but his friend tells him. Rainbow Dragon. Partner, only think of the strongest person or thing in your world. He said it seriously and Issei listened to him, and he thought of Jessie, since this was the most powerful of this sacred gear, and a light glow covered Issei's arm. And revealed a glove that covered Issei's arm up to the elbow, its color was gold with white and a gem around it. And he presented them, he just looked at him with a smile, since he knew that Issei was going to make a legend with that sacred, and he knew that he was not going to use it for evil. Gabriel. Well done Issei, now put your thoughts on your sacred object and follow the rhythm of the sword, she said calmly, and Issei could only nod and obeyed, and the sword worked with his sacred object. Issei. I'm already there, let's go train, he said it excitedly and receiving a nod from everyone. Chapter 2. Issei was already ready for his training to begin, along with Gabriel, Griselda, Dulio and Mirana, since they were going to train Issei. Gabriel. Well, Issei, Griselda will teach you how to use a sword with Mirana. She said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. Issei. And what are you going to teach me? I said it curiously. Dulio. Well Issei, since I have the second most powerful longinus, of course not like yours, since it is much stronger than mine, I will teach you the elements of water, fire, earth and much more element, he said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod, although he was curious what his longinus was. Issei. Hey, what is your sacred gear? He said it curiously and Dulio looks at it. Dulio. As I told you, I have the second most powerful longinus, the Zenith Tempest, that is my sacred gear. He said it calmly and received a nod from Issei. Issei. And what is Gabi-chan going to teach me? She said it innocently, something that made Gabriel blush as he called her again, and made the three of them smile, since Issei behaved childishly with Gabriel. Gabriel. Okay, Issei, I'll teach you how to handle the light, to make a weapon or whatever you want. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. Gabriel put a spell on him that made Issei's body weigh a little more, he first ran, so that his body had a little resistance, and Griselda taught him swordsmanship with Mirana, and Gabriel taught him light management, something that Issei learned a little, and then Dulio taught him the elements a little, and Issei only learned one, and that was fire. Something that surprised the three of them since only one day he learned an element, and Issei just got excited that he could control fire, and when the training days were over, everyone went to their rooms, and only Issei and Gabriel were left. Gabriel. Well Issei, today was a hard day for you, because we are not going to rest. She said it with a smile and Issei looks at her somewhat curiously. Issei. And where am I going to sleep? He said something curious, and Gabriel only increased his smile. Gabriel. He's going to live with me and he'll sleep with me since there's this whole thing for you, since Michael sent you to buy something different for you. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod since he was just a child of only 5 years old. And he didn't see the problem that I slept with Gabriel, even though she is a woman. Issei. Good was Issei's only word, and he went to Gabriel's house, and when Issei entered he liked the place because it was beautiful, and Gabriel just looked at him with a smile because he liked Issei's attitude. Gabriel. Issei, let's go to dinner, he said it with a smile and Issei nods, and when they finished dinner and Gabriel left, they took a shower, and when he came out he saw Issei who was wearing cat pajamas, which made what he looked cuter. Before. Issei. Gabriel, why did they buy me these cat pajamas? There was no other one. He said it innocently and Gabriel could only let out a small smile. Gabriel, well because you look more adorable in those pajamas, he said it with a smile and Issei just blushed a little and laid down on the bed. Issei. Have a sweet dream Gabriel, she said it with a smile, and Gabriel also does the same, but she hugs him and sticks them to her chest, and Issei just blushes a lot. Gabriel. You too Issei, have a sweet dream, he said it with a smile, and to give Issei a kiss on the cheek, and he already had his eyes closed as a sign that he was already asleep, and Gabriel also closed his eyes, but he still hit Issei hug, as if he were a human pillow. The following days Issei and Gabriel began to get up since Issei wanted to continue training, and when he finished everything, he went to the training room, and there was Dulio, Marina and Griselda, who had already been waiting, and Issei approached him to greet him, and they also welcomed him back. Marina. Wow, Issei has a lot of energy today, she said it with a funny smile, and Issei looks at her. Issei. Well, of course I want to come back strong, he said it with determination, and made the four of them laugh. Gabriel. Then it's ready, Issei, he said it with a smile, and Issei just nods. The first year of training. Issei was increased more gravity so that his body has much more resistance, and Marina teaches him all her sword style, since they are a very skilled exorcist, and Issei followed almost the same rhythms, since Issei learned quickly, together with Griselda too, since she also taught him her sword handling, since she was one of the 5 strongest exorcists in the church. But to surprise their Issei matched the rhythm of her sword, it was as if Issei was a combat prodigy, since this year he matched her, but even so he could beat Issei, since they do not use their powers, but for them Issei was very good with the sword, that was the years that they spent, since each one took turns to train Issei, and they considering Issei as their little brother, and Issei too. The second year of training. Issei continued with the gravity which Gabriel gave him, but at this moment he was seeing the second Joker of Heaven, he was going to teach him his ability in the elements, Dulio taught him a little of his hand-to-hand style, and Issei was also able to give Dulio a little fight, thanks to the girls' training, and when he learned the body style they continued with the elements. Issei already controlled fire, that was the first element he could learn when he began his training, and then he continued with water, air, earth, lightning and a strong tornado. Dulio and Issei had a great launch since Dulio saw Issei as his younger brother, and Issei too, since he took a great liking to him and considered Dulio as his older brother, and he also grew his wings, now he had 3 pairs of light blue wings. The third year of training. Issei could already control everything element thanks to Dulio, and this time he was going to train with his sacred gear, and Dulio also taught him about his sacred gear, since the year he had was only that he controlled the element, but this year he had to have control over his sacred gear, and rather he has the second most powerful Longinus, along with Griselda and Marina. Of course the Seraphim also looked at him, but he was going to train very soon with them. The Rainbow Dragon also taught him how to use the sacred gear and its secret that only Jesse Anderson knew, its last user, and he also wanted the balance breaker to arrive, although he had to have a strong emotion to achieve it, since he had a resistant body and a large reserve of magic, and to the surprise of everyone and the pride of the Issei dragon if she could. Her balance breaker came in, and that year it was perfect since only Issei spent her time training with Dulio, but he also told her about the Juggernaut drive that wanted to reach her, but she never could. The fourth year of training. Issei was going to be trained by a Seraphim, and that was Uriel, he was an excellent teacher. Since he taught him to study something that Issei did not want, but as time went by he had to do it, since he realized that the mind could also be a very dangerous weapon and time passes. Uriel became very fond of Issei since he behaved like a father, and Issei liked him, but he also taught him a couple of books, since he had to make a magic circle to transport himself. And to make a barrier, since Issei spent those years studying spells and magic circles and other magic from different factions, since Issei wanted to know everything about magic. The fifth year of training. Issei was already 10 years old, and now he had been trained by the best swordsman of all, and that was Raphael, since not even Griselda or Marina could touch her, but she told him not to use his spell, so that she gravity increased, and Issei decided to listen to him, since there was no point in using it. Issei and Raphael trained a lot during the years they had, and to the surprise of the Seraphim, Issei was a natural bearer of Excalibur, since he grabbed 2 of it, some of which were the Excalibur Rapidity that made his ability increase at a great speed, and the second was the Nocturnal Excalibur. If there is a doubt, Issei was more than a prodigy. And Issei kept those 2 swords and gave Ascalon to Gabriel, since he took all the strength out of him. Potential to that sword, and she left it to him, and Issei only accepted, and they kept the 3 swords, but even hasty Issei already surpassed the Sky Swordsman and Raphael herself. And she also grew fond of Issei and treated him like her younger brother, and Issei, he also treated her like his older brother, and even more so when she was naughty. The 6th year of training. Issei already had a good physical body, now it was the turn of the leader of heaven to train Issei. He would teach him magic as a spell and another thing from the other faction, although Issei already learned that, but Michael told him that he was an expert in magic and spells, something that made Issei excited. But Michael gave him a book that contained the secrets of his sacred gear, so he began to focus on controlling his Juggernaut drive. He saw that he had to do, here he thought badly of his sacred gear, and he was successful thanks to that book that helped him a lot, since with the passage of time he was able to ascend the Juggernaut drive, but he could only have that form for 1 hour. since after that time passed it would consume his lifespan, and also as Michael passed he saw Issei as a son, since he has changed a lot, his hair grew a little more and became darker, and Issei also saw Michael as a father he never had, the love of a family he never had. The 7th year of training. It was now the turn of the strongest seraph of heaven, Gabriel. She was going to teach him all her sword style, and to handle the light as it should, since Issei did not have much control with the light, only a little, since he wanted Gabriel to teach him, and that is why he never learned to handle the light, but Issei with the passage of time already had great speed, he even grew 10 pairs of wings. Some light blue wings until his early age, since he only lived training since he wanted to become much stronger to protect Gabriel. Obviously that made her blush, since with the passage of time that he was teaching her, she took a liking to him, not as a brother, rather a love interest, since Issei was no longer that child that she once brought at the age of 5. But Issei also took a love interest in Gabriel, but he was still a child, but Issei already controlled the light much better, until he created a spear and sword of light, and created a sphere of electrical energy, up to 2 attacks that he learned, backup of rainbow and Arcoíris refraction. Those were 2 attacks that Issei learned over time to grace his partner and friend. Until he could destroy a mountain completely. The 8th year of training. Issei told him that he wanted to face all his master, since he wanted to test all his ability and increase these years, and they accepted. Of course the Seraphim had a great advantage, thanks to the experience of the war, but Issei did not make it so easy either, since sometimes they used the abilities of the Excalibur sword, since he did not want to always depend on his sacred gear. And there was an occasion that Issei entered the Juggernaut drive, but this time it lasted longer, since he was able to give him a little more of a fight, although not much since he was a huge dragon, and they were small. Clearly the difference was seen, even Dulio made him enter his balance breaker, since Issei really exceeded his expectation, since Issei learned much faster, he was more than a prodigy. The 9th year of training. Issei was already 14 years old, and he decided to do various missions with Dulio and Griselda, since he wanted to practice his real skill in a real battle, and not training. Of course, Gabriel told him no, but with many pleas. She accepted. He was also recognized by the Vatican as one of the 5 strongest exorcists in the church, and they also gave him a title as the Star of Hope. The entire Vatican knew Issei, since sometimes he faced the renegade demon who had a high class level, and the fallen angels, and Issei only left him inconsistent, since he was just a 14-year-old boy, but sometimes he killed him accidentally. But a program was also made thanks to the help of the Seraphim, since Gabriel discovered that Issei sang since he was in the Garden of Eden, and he decided to sing a song, and Gabriel heard it, and he began his program, but he would never tarnish the title of his friend, the Rainbow Dragon of Hope. The 10th year of training. Issei decided to focus on the Juggernaut drive, since it only lasted a few days in its form, and he wanted to perfect it like armor with Dulio, since he did not want to fall behind Issei, and he also began training with Issei, and they also helped him to perfect the Juggernaut drive, and it was a success, thanks to the help of the person he considers an older brother. And Issei also discovered that there was a sacred gear just like his, but no one knows that, not even the Seraphim, Mayu and Cadre, only God, since he also sealed a being that was pure evil, and was the rival of his friend and companion, and discovered that he also woke up. But that no one knows, and Issei decided to keep that secret to himself, and would reveal it to his best moment, since then everyone would worry about him, and he didn't want that. The 11th training. Issei already grew his 2 more wings, and the total already had 12 celestial wings, and for the Seraphim Issei was totally special, since nobody had those celestial wings, only he was the only one with those wings, and also in the future they told him that he was going to become a seraph, and Issei only told him that it was okay, since Gabriel proposed it to him with the others. Because Issei already had everything to become a seraph, but he never neglected his training and his missions with Dulio, since they always worked together, and sometimes with Griselda or Marana, since now Issei could go on more advanced missions, and Issei also has great kindness with children with Dulio, and more if they are orphans, since he makes him remember them when they were children. But also the facts found out that the angels had a strong warrior, like the demon, and fell, since some of his subordinate heard rumors, and those rumors became real. And the last year Issei decided to take a break since he always trained throughout the years, and they also asked Issei to hand over the Excalibur sword that he has in his possession, and he did not see the problem since he was going to improve and he was going to return it to him very soon. But at this moment they were talking to their friend and battle partner in their mental link, and Issei only had his eyes closed. Rainbow Dragon. Tell me, Issei, have you felt his aura? He said it seriously, and Issei just shook his head. Issei. No, I couldn't find it, and why don't the other factions know about that sacred gear? He said something curious. Rainbow Dragon. I already told you, Issei, that sacred is the same as yours, and it is very powerful just like yours, but I thought it had been destroyed, and that is why God and I decided to keep that secret. I was serious and receiving an Issei nod. Issei. I see, I hope the carrier is a good guy and they don't use him for evil, he said it seriously. Rainbow Dragon. I hope it is like that, or else I'll fight him, I was serious. Issei. That's it, well I have to go bye since I feel Gabriel's presence, he said it calmly and receiving a nod from the dragon. Rainbow Dragon. Goodbye Issei, I said it calmly and went to sleep, and Issei only looked at him with thought since that dragon was going to put him to sleep, but he decided to leave there and opened his eyes. At that moment he heard someone calling him and saw him standing next to him and saw Gabriel. Issei. Hello Gabriel, what are you doing? He said it with a smile, and Gabriel laid down next to him. Gabriel. I just wanted nothing, he was next to you. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only see it, but he had a somewhat serious look. Issei. Gabriel, I want to tell you something. He said it somewhat nervously, and Gabriel could only nod because he was curious. Gabriel. And what is ice? She said it with a smile and curious, and Issei gathered his courage. Issei. I'm going to dinner tonight in the human world, do you want to accompany me? He said it somewhat blushing, and Gabriel just looked at him surprised although he was happy. Gabriel. That sounds like an ice quote to me, he said it with a smile and a direction on his cheek. Issei. If Gabriel wants to go on a date with me, he said it nervously, and Gabriel just hugged him since now Issei was no longer a child. Gabriel. If Issei would sing to me, I have a date with you. He said it with a smile and a blush on his cheek. And Issei only smiled back. Issei. Okay, I'll wait for you at night, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel could only nod, and Gabriel left there very happy, and Issei could only let out a smile. Issei. He is so childish, I like his attitude, that's why I fell in love with his personality, his kindness and his purity, he said it in his thoughts and with a smile and left there since he had to have everything ready. In another part of the world. You could see a black-haired boy with red eyes who was looking into the air but had a big smile and fun. Subject. Then the rainbow dragon has awakened, right friend, he said it with a funny smile, and a black glow appeared in the subject's hand. That's it, friend, it seems that he finally woke up and has another carrier, a thick voice said it seriously, and the subject just looks at the sphere in his hand with a smile. Subject. Then we will have more fun, he said it with a smile and walked away, and the sphere in his hand vanished. Chapter 3. Issei walked to Michael's office, which he considers his father, since he thought of something better than a date, and knocked on the door and heard a pass, and he passed and saw that Michael was battling with his worst enemy in the whole world, paperwork, and Michael saw Issei who had black clothing and headphones to listen to music. Michael. Tell me Issei what he needs, I said it curiously, since it was rare for Issei to wear that type of clothing. Issei. Well Michael, the first want you to give me permission to spend 1 week with Gabriel in the human world, he said it calmly, and Michael just looked at him with a serious face. Michael. You know what you're asking me, Ice, he said it seriously, and Issei could only nod. Issei. That's right Michael, I asked the human world out on a date, and well, it came to my head, why doesn't a week go by? He said it calmly, and Michael just looked at Issei, even though he already knew Gabriel's feelings for Issei, and he looked at his sister, and they approached and gave Issei a hug, and he returned it. Michael. Issei, I see you as my son and you are always seen that way, and you have my permission to enter into a relationship with Gabriel, he said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod in confirmation. Issei. Thank you father, you are also a father to me, and the only one I didn't have, he said it with a smile, and Michael just nodded happily. Michael. Thank you Issei, and by taking care of Gabriel that week, he said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod in confirmation. Issei. He didn't have to tell me that, since he would do it anyway, he said it calmly, and Issei left there and left Michael alone. Michael. I hope they are happy Issei and Gabriel, he said it with a smile, and left to do his job again. Issei walked in Gabriel's direction because he wanted to tell him something, and when he arrived he knocked on the door and saw a blonde girl come out all dressed up and a blush on her cheek as Issei was dressed. Gabriel. And tell me Issei what she needs, we still have time, she said it with a smile and a direction on her cheek, and Issei just looks at her. Issei. Well, Gabriel, change your plans. I don't want to go on a date with you. Gabriel. But what if you told me, she said it with a broken voice, and Issei heard that, her heart hurt and he hugged her, since it seems that she did not express herself as she should have, and Gabriel only reciprocated that hug. Issei. Sorry Gabriel if I didn't express myself as I should, what I mean is that if we are going to have that date, but we are going to have it for a week in the human world, of course if you want it, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel just looks at him with a smile, since it seems that she was going to have her appointment. But not for a day but for a week, and she was going to take advantage of that week. Gabriel. Of course, Issei, I would like to spend a week with you in the human world, I said it happily, and Issei could only nod. Issei. Okay, and I'm going to get everything ready, goodbye Gabriel, he said it to give Gabriel a kiss on the cheek which made him blush. Gabriel. Well, I'm going this week with Ice, and I thought that she wasn't going to have a date with me, and she almost slammed the door in her face, she said it in her thoughts and a blush on her cheek. Issei went to get everything he needed ready for a week and went to where Gabriel was and saw that she was ready and beautiful as always. Issei. You look beautiful Gabriel, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel just blushed. Gabriel. Thank you, Issei, you too, he said it with a blush, and Issei could only nod. Issei. We are leaving my princess, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel could only nod, and when he was leaving they saw the other Seraphim and Dulio Marana and Griselda. Gabriel. And what are you doing here? I was saying it a little seriously since your date could be in danger. Gabriel. Well, Michael told us that you were going to have a date, what are you doing? He said it calmly and gave him a paper, and Issei grabbed it, and to see what it was, he looked, and it was an apartment of the Kyoto police, and Issei looked at it. Issei. Funny, really, although I already had a place reserved, he said it with a smile, and Uriel just nods with a smile. Dulio. Well, good luck, here Issei said this with a smile, and Issei just looked, and it was the places where he could eat the delicious dishes, and Issei just looked with a smile. Griselda. Well, Issei, I have nothing, but I'm going to give you a threat, and if you dare to do something strange to my lady, you're fired. What makes you a man, she said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod nervously, since he could forgive his friend. Michael. Good luck, he said it with a smile, and Issei and Gabriel just returns Michael's smile and saying goodbye to everything there is. Marana. Oh, love is so beautiful, she said it with a smile, and everyone left there. But Issei and Gabriel appeared in a place where people couldn't see them, since it was strange that two young people came out of nowhere and they decided to get out of there, and when they came out they both had a smile. Issei. This is it Gabriel, today we have a week together, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel could only nod happily. Gabriel. Of course, Issei, let's go, I said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod, and Gabriel grabbed Issei's hand, and she felt warmth as she grabbed Issei's hand, and she looked at her and with a smile. And they decided to walk to the city. And when they arrived I was amazed by the city since Issei no longer remembered it. Issei and Gabriel, well, she no longer had time to go out to the human world, and she always had a great time. And when she walked, people stared at something that Issei and Gabriel got a little nervous because they heard how he told him that they were a couple and how he compared him to his current partner, and it also made him blush a little. Issei and Gabriel stopped to see one thing that caught their attention. It was an amusement park, and they just looked at each other with a smile and walked where the park was, and when they arrived, it was the center of all the people since Issei and Gabriel looked like a couple and the most beautiful, and some took a photo and recorded it. And they decided getting on a ride was the roller coaster, and the ticket holder stared at Gabriel with lust, something that bothered Issei. Issei. Hey, if you keep seeing her Issei, I'll make you know the same hell, he said it seriously, and the man of matter a lot and left them and stopped looking at Gabriel, since he must have gotten scared by such words, and the girl who heard that blushed, since that boy was a man not like her partner. And Gabriel only blushed a lot since Issei defended her, so that she no longer looked at her in that way, as always everyone looks at her, and when they got up, they decided to sit in their place where it corresponded, and Issei and Gabriel put on all the security, so as not to fly away for a moment, and she felt that she moved little by little, and then she felt that she was going faster, and Gabriel grabbed Issei's hand since she was a little nervous and scared since this was her first time, and saw that she picked up a maximum speed, and they began to scream everything that was there is the same Issei since afterwards she didn't get the fun, so much screaming, and emotions ended and Issei left as if nothing and Gabriel only left there dizzy, and Issei looked at her somewhat with pain. Issei. Gabriel finds you fine, he said it worried, and Gabriel only looks at him because of that question that Issei asked. Gabriel. And what do you think? He said it with great sarcasm, and Issei just kept quiet. Issei. It was a stupid question, come on, this can't be done, he said it with a smile to carry Gabriel in his arm, and blushed so much to Gabriel, since he didn't expect that, and he looked at everything again, and the women only, he cursed Gabriel for having a boy and the boys too, since Issei had a girl who was beautiful, not even his girlfriend compared to that girl. Gabriel already felt better than before, and they got on another set of bumper cars, and they had all the fun. Afternoon played and also being photo or video taken, and some of the Cow Academy where one day Issei will roll there. Issei and Gabriel realized that they only had 40 minutes left until their train left Kyoto, and decided to eat a restaurant that was nearby from the train station, and when they entered the one that served customers he approached, but then seeing Gabriel, he was amazed by her beauty, and some who were there too, and they just gave a sigh for that, and with a lot of threat from Issei already nobody saw Gabriel because of the fear that that black-haired boy gave him, and they went to settle in a place with a view of the window, and they found a good place and decided to stay there, and a waitress arrived to take the order, and when she saw Issei blushed a lot, and Gabriel didn't like that. Gabriel. Excuse me, could you bring me a plate of meat? He said it kindly since he didn't like the way he looked at Issei. Waitress. Sure, and you, young man? She said it with a smile and a blush. Issei. The same please, he said it calmly and receiving a nod from the waitress who left there. If before Gabriel didn't notice the waitress left a paper in Issei's hand and he saw that it was the waitress's number, and this only damaged the paper since he is not interested in another girl part of Gabriel. She was the only one in his life and the waitress brought what they ordered and they began to eat, but Gabriel wanted Issei to feed him and Issei gave her something that made her blush a lot, but she had a smile and when they finished she gave the waitress a tip of $100 and she left for the train station since she was about to leave. I fell asleep and they saw that she was about to leave. And Issei carried Gabriel in his arm and began to run to get in, and they arrived on time and took their seat, but Gabriel was a little cold and Issei guessed because of the train air and gave him his jacket and Gabriel looks at him and Issei put on his jacket. Issei. I know you're cold and don't lie to me since I saw you warm, she said it with a smile and Gabriel could only nod with a smile and she put her head on Issei's shoulders and he also did the same. They fall asleep each one and the trip lasted for 4 hours and Issei got up first and heard that he was at the Tokyo stop and decided to pick her up, but he saw that she was still asleep and decided to carry her and got off the train and went where Uriel got her the apartment. Since he decided to accept that gift and cancelled his gift. And she felt that Gabriel began to wake up and the first thing she felt that someone was carrying her and she opened her eyes and saw Issei with a smile. Gabriel. Hello, Issei, where are we going? I said it with a little sleep and Issei just smiled. Issei. Well, we're going to the apartment that your brother got us and I'm also a little hungry. Let's go, I said it with a smile and Gabriel could only nod and decide to walk and grabbed Issei's hand and when they arrived they saw what hotel it was. First class and Gabriel only had a small vein on his forehead since she wanted something simple, not something very expensive, although they had enough money to buy more than 10 mansions and that is nothing. Issei. Go on, your brother passed by and look, there's a beach there, he said it pointing to the place and Gabriel followed him with his gaze and it was true. Gabriel, yes, and she is beautiful, but well, let's go inside, it looks like it's going to rain, she said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei and when they entered, she was the center of all the people there and some who blushed like a man on Gabriel's part and the women on Issei's part and they decided to ignore the people and the hotel guy approached. Issei. Please, my father Uriel reserved a room for me, Issei, he said it kindly and Gabriel just laughed a little as they called his brother and the man looked at the computer and searched for Issei's name and found it and he tells a man who followed him and he does and it took them 5 minutes and when they entered they saw that it had a beautiful view and the man left and Gabriel and Issei got excited and they saw the window and a beautiful view of the beach. Gabriel. Issei, when we are going to the beach, she said it excitedly and Issei looks at her. Issei. Later, but first ask for something to eat and I'm really starving, he said it nervously and Gabriel could only nod with a smile. Gabriel. Of course Issei, I'll ask now, he said it calmly and received a nod from Issei. Issei. Okay Gabriel, I'm going to take a shower, he said it calmly and left there and left Gabriel, who asked for everything he needed since he knew that Issei eats a lot and when he asked for everything he decided to see the sea since it was very beautiful and he stayed like that for more than 30 minutes and when he heard someone knock on the door and that was who it was and when he opened the door he could see a girl dressed as a waitress. Waitress. Very good, here is what she ordered, she said it surprised by the beautiful woman who was in front of her eyes and she saw that there was no one there and that made her strange and she wondered if she was going to eat all of this. Gabriel. Thank you very much, he said it kindly and with a smile. Waitress. Excuse my manners, but you are going to eat all this, she said it curiously and received a denial. Gabriel. Of course not, my partner eats a lot and that's why I ordered a lot, he said it with a blush on his cheek like the Issei. Waitress. I guess his partner is fat and ugly because he swallowed all this and what a waste he had for such a beautiful woman to be with him, he said it in his thoughts about him. At that point a voice is heard and the two women blush furiously since Issei came out of the shower and only had his pants on and let her well-formed body be seen. Issei. Gabriel, the food has already arrived, I said it calmly. Gabriel and the waitress blushed furiously at Issei's body, which awakened the lowest instinct of both women. Gabriel. Yeah, Issei, the food has arrived, but put it on your shirt. She said this with a very strong blush and Issei listened to her and went to her room to put on a shirt since Gabriel was very jealous of how the waitress looked at Issei. Waitress. Excuse me, I'm leaving now, I said it with a blush and she left thinking what that black-haired guy was like in bed that made her blush even more and cursing how a woman like Gabriel got a boy like that so handsome and hexy. Gabriel. There's this Issei, why did he come out in front of a girl? She said it out of jealousy and when she was going to move the food, Issei arrived again. Issei. I'm ready Gabriel, let's eat she said it calmly and receiving a nod from Gabriel already very calm, and they both began to eat calmly, and when she finished Issei saw Gabriel who was picking up the plate and Issei helped her to finish more quickly, and they saw that it was getting late and decided that tomorrow they would go to the beach and they went to sleep together since they always slept together because Issei was a child. The next day. Issei began to get up and saw that Gabriel was still asleep and stood up and she went to the kitchen to cook something to eat with Gabriel. Gabriel also started to get up and saw that Issei was not there and went to the kitchen since he knew that Issei always cooked. Gabriel. Hello Issei, how are you? He said it with a smile and Issei returned that smile. Issei. Very good Gabriel, well we finished eating and we're going to the beach do you think he said it with a smile and Gabriel could only nod, they started to eat and when he finished he left the house and walked to the beach until Himar touched him and those who were there looking at the couple and some man wanted to get closer to Gabriel. But with an Issei look he only made him scared and they saw a place that he liked and they approached and asked for a juice and the waiter brought it to him and Issei and Gabriel stayed talking about something trivial but fun and when he finished the baby, his juice ran out and he left a tip. Issei and Gabriel approached the sea but Gabriel pushed Issei so that he would shut up in his face. Issei and Gabriel just let out a smile because of that. Issei. What are we doing Gabi-chan he said it with a smile and Gabriel only blushed since Issei always played with that name. Gabriel. Let's go nothing Issei she said it with a smile and Issei could only nod and Gabriel takes off the robe which covered her and revealed her swimsuit and the men who were there were stunned by Gabriel's body and wanted to get closer but they saw that Issei approached Gabriel and some got upset since she already had a partner. Issei. You look very beautiful Gabriel he said it with a smile and a blush and he takes off his shirt and lets see his well-formed body and the women seeing that he had a level 20 nosebleed and some who wanted to get close to Gabriel saw his body and also Issei and compared it as something that bothered him. Gabriel. Come on ice he said it with a smile and a blush and Issei grabbed Gabriel to enter the water and so they spent time playing for 1 hour since they had more resistance than humans and when they came out they saw that 10 men came who had a look of arrogance and some of lust, something that Issei only gave a long sigh. Issei. What do you need here? He said it calmly and Gabriel stood behind Issei. And the men looked at Gabriel with desire. Man 1. I want you to give me that girl who is after you he said it with arrogance and Issei just remained calm. Issei. And what happens if I don't give it to you he said it with a smile and the man only increased his smile. Man 2. Hey kid, maybe you don't see that just more and I could die he said it with superiority and Issei just looked at him. Issei. I think you need a little more muscle to celebrate he said it mockingly, something that bothered everyone there. And what he was seeing was that he was worried about that boy and the girl since all the men called Gabriel's attention but he didn't have good intentions. Man 5. Then get ready but it didn't end because Issei hit him in the stomach. Issei. I'm tired of you he said it seriously and the 9 men got upset since one of their friend was hurt and 2 of them also threw themselves at Issei and he dodged him with ease and without containing himself since he wanted to do something to Gabriel. He hit the guy on the right that made him spit blood and the other guy kicked Issei and he grabbed him and spun him around to throw him into the sea and some got scared and when he was going to say something Issei didn't let him since he kicked him in the face that hurt his nose and the other to see that he was leaving. But Issei caught him and threw some of his friend at him and that made him back off. Man 3. Please wait he said it scared and Issei didn't care and kicked him and punched him in the head which made him fall unconscious and when his friend was going to do something, Issei grabbed one of his partners and headbutted him and saw that only 3 people were missing. Man 1. Wait please we already learned that but it didn't end because Issei hit him a blow that made him spit blood and the 2 male companions were running away but Issei grabbed him before he ran and grabbed his hair to hit his head. Issei. Well now if Gabriel leaves let's finish this idiot he said it calmly and Gabriel just put on his robe and went to Issei to grab his arm. Gabriel. Yes, let's go he said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei and left, leaving that unconscious idiot and some afraid for that boy since he didn't even sweat a single drop. And when he was going to enter they saw a place that caught his attention and Issei asked the hotel employee. Issei. Excuse me, but what is being celebrated there? I said it curiously and the employee saw it. Employee. Well today I'm going to see a party and everything can go there he said it kindly and Issei could only nod. Gabriel. And tell me what Issei said to you she said it curiously and Issei looks at her. Issei. There's a party that everyone can go to, what do you think if we go? He said it with a smile and Gabriel could only nod and he went to his apartment and they changed and when he was about to leave a magic circle appeared in the center of the room and Issei and Gabriel just looked at it since it was a hologram of Michael. Michael. Hello Issei and Gabriel, excuse me if I'm bothering you on your date but we have a scare, what do you need to take care of? He said it seriously and Issei and Gabriel could only nod. Issei. And what happened? I meant it seriously. Michael. The Excalibur sword has been stolen by Grigori's cadre, those are the fast one, and the night one are yours Issei. I said it seriously, and Issei and Gabriel are surprised. Gabriel. But how could he say it since it was his beloved sword? Michael. I can't be here all day, you need to come back and really apologize. I said it's sad because you ruined your son and Gabriel's date. Issei. It's okay, we're going to heaven. He said it calmly and receiving a nod from Michael, who closed the communication. Gabriel. It seems that we are not going to heaven. Isai said it was sad since I didn't have my week. Issei. Yes, but before we go, Gabriel, I want to tell you something important. I said it nervously, and Gabriel could only nod. Gabriel. And what is Ice? She said it curiously. Issei. Gabriel, I love you. I said it with a blush. And Gabriel listened to that and was surprised, but she was happy and shed tears, because she also fell in love with Issei, and Issei, seeing that, she became sad because he thought that she didn't want to be with him. And when he was speaking, Gabriel interrupted him. Gabriel. Issei, I love you too. She said it with a smile, and Issei only saw her with a smile, and Issei and Gabriel approached to kiss each other, a kiss full of love. Issei. Gabriel wants to be my girlfriend. He said it with a smile and kneels down and takes out a gold ring with a diamond in its center. Gabriel. Yes, Issei, I want to be your girlfriend. He said it, shedding more tears to give Issei a kiss with all his deep love for her. The other side of the world, you could see a black-haired man with blonde locks who was sitting at his desk, but he suddenly falls to his knees, feeling as if his greatest dream had been claimed. Azazel. But what I felt in my chest, I said it nervously, and I only had one thought: what the hell has just taken away from me in my life that I most longed for? With our favorite protagonist. Issei and Gabriel were in a kiss full of love, and when he heard his friend's voice. Arcoíris Dragon. Congratulations Issei and Gabriel, may you be happy. He said it with pride in his voice, since Issei was able to do what no one else could in his life, he conquered the Seraphim Gabriel. Issei. Thanks friend, but well, we have to go. What a shame that our date was ruined. He said it somewhat annoyed with Gabriel, since it was true that it had been ruined. Gabriel. But come on, Issei, we have to go and fix all our things. He said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod. It took them an hour to pick up everything and last the 2 days they had there, and to hide a place where no one would see him, and makes a magic circle and disappearing from that place. Chapter 4. Issei and Gabriel appeared in the sky since their week-long date had been interrupted, and he saw that Michael, Dulio and Griselda were there, and they approached, but he had something in his hand that caught his curiosity. Griselda. My lady, why does he come holding hands with Issei? I said it curiously to the others, and they just blushed. Gabriel. Well, Ice asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. Michael. Easy Gabriel and Issei, but we have business to attend to. I said it seriously, and they also became serious. Issei. And that it is Michael, he only told me that the 2 Excalibur swords had been stolen by a Grigori cadre. He said it seriously, and received a nod from the 3. Dulio. It's true, that happened in the Vatican. He said it seriously, and Issei only had one thought. He wants to make that frame with the Excalibur sword. Issei. But why does a cadre want the Excalibur sword, and who is that cadre too? He said it seriously, and Michael looks at him. Michael. Yes, Kakabiel calls. He always wanted to start a war, train 3 large factions, but Azazel, the leader of the fallen, no longer wants war. He said this tiredly, receiving a nod from Issei. Issei. And where did he take the sword? He said something curious, and Michael, Dulio and Griselda remained silent, something that Gabriel did not like. Gabriel. What happened? He still doesn't know where the sword is. I said it would be. Michael. Gabriel, we do know where the sword is and where he took it, but we already sent 2 exorcists to where the sword is. He said it seriously, and Issei looked at him. Issei. And where is the sword, and where is it? He said it seriously, and they just let out a sigh. Dulio. Issei, the sword is in the city of Kao. I was serious, and Issei and Gabriel are very surprised. Where is that sword? Where Issei came from? Issei. In the city of Kao. He said it in a whisper that everyone heard. Gabriel. Issei. He said it in a whisper that no one heard, since he knew the pain that Issei felt in that city, and when Michael was speaking and Issei interrupted him, since he already wanted to face his past. Issei. I want to go to Kao City. He said it seriously, and everyone was surprised, even Michael himself, who thought he wouldn't go. Gabriel. Issei is sure. She said it, worried about her boyfriend, and Issei looked at her with a smile. Issei. Gabriel and the others know that this was going to happen one day. Don't lie to yourself. And also Gabriel, I had planned to go to the city of Kao when our date will end after all. If I leave, I said it with a smile, and the others, I didn't say anything since I knew this was going to happen. Michael. Thank you Issei for this help. He said it with a smile to the person he considers a son. Issei. Don't worry, I'll be fine because of that, he said it with a smile and receiving a nod from everyone. Julio. And well, the two exorcists are about to arrive in the city of Kauai, said it a little seriously, since one of them also made Issei's life impossible. Issei. And what is the name of the exorcist, she said something curious, and Griselda managed a serious face. Griselda. One of them is called Zenobia Quarta and the other Irina Shidu. I said it would be the last, and Issei was just a little surprised since he knew she was in the Vatican. Issei. I see. Thanks for telling me, and when will I leave? I said it curiously, and Michael speaks. Michael. Today, since she has a meeting with the heiress of that city, he said it seriously and receiving a nod from Issei. Issei. I see, then I'll go get everything ready. By everything, Gabriel is coming with me, he said it with a smile, and Gabriel could only nod and of course saying goodbye to Michael, Julio and Griselda, and they also left there. Issei and Gabriel walked straight to their room together holding hands, and when they entered they got everything ready for Issei to go to the human world, together with the exorcist who was waiting for her, and one of them was Irina, who was her first love, but she rejected him cruelly and humiliated. Of course Gabriel knew that since Issei didn't want to have a secret with Gabriel, and neither did she. Gabriel. Issei, take care of himself, she said it worriedly, even though he is strong she always worried about him, and Issei knew it, so he hugged her with love. Issei. Gabriel, you don't have to worry, you remember that I always walk with my friend and partner, right? I said it with a smile, and a shine came out in Issei's hand. Rainbow Dragon. It's true, Issei, you do T have to worry much, and remember Issei has a strength greater than a seraphim, he said it with pride in his voice, since he knew without his help, he could defeat the seraphim and archangels, and all of heaven would do it. Tasted very good. Gabriel. It's true, and take this in the house where you guys are going to live, and I don't like that this Irina guy is going to live with you, he said it a little angry since she was his first love. Issei. Gabriel, remember that is now in the past, I only care about you, no one else, and take care of heaven like we are Ceres, he said it with a calm voice, and Gabriel could only nod and give him a kiss. But that was heard by two people. Michael, the leader of heaven, had a smile because his sister found the love of his life, and the other was Griselda, since she began to look at Issei with different eyes, she no longer looked at him as a younger brother, and began to look at him with a love interest next to Marana, but he knew that he was interested in his wife, and he left Hey since he had nothing. What does Hey? Gabriel. Then take care, Issei, she said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei, who made a magic circle, not before putting on a suppression seal that he knew, changing his aura to a completely human and a seal, so that no one feels his sacred gear. Gabriel. Very clever coming from Seraphim, strongest in heaven, he said it with a smile, and Issei could only nod to give Gabriel the last kiss, and she reciprocated in the same way, and when the kiss ended, Issei entered the magic circle that had done and left Hey, leaving Gabriel only with a slightly sad look, since he did not spend his week of appointments since he ruined it. But that changed with a smile since at last she was Issei's girlfriend who so much she longed, but she noticed the look on Marana and Griselda's face. She may be innocent, but she was T stupid, since she knew that those two were in love with Issei, but she decided to go to her room to rest. With Issei. He appeared in a forest, a little far from Kao's care, and he began to walk since he knew that very close to here there was a church, and he saw a church all destroyed, but he did not care and entered, and when he entered he saw two people, one was a blue-haired girl, and the other a light brown-haired girl, and Issei guessed who the last one was, that was Irina Shidu, his first love. But he decided to draw attention and he succeeded since his face was seen, and the girl saw who he was and put on a serious face. Of course the brown-haired girl was blushing, and the blue-haired girl just looked at him with a serious face, since she is not interested in that kind of thing, but she had to admit that boy was really handsome. Issei. Hello, how are you and what is your name? He said it calmly, and the girl just looked at him with a little distrust, since she didn't know who he was. Zenobia. I am Zenobia Quarta, and this is Irina Shidu, and who are you? I said it would be, and Issei looked at him with a little fear, since that attitude was just like Griselda. Issei. Well, Issei, nice to meet you, and I think you're my partner, right? He said it with a smile and surprised the two girls, but more Irina since she had an image of when Issei was a child. Irina. Issei, was you? I said it with the hope that it was him, and he wanted to apologize for how he rejected him in the past, since he knew that she was a woman together with his ex-brother. Issei. That's how Irina is, how I am, he said it calmly since he didn't hold a grudge against Irina, but he didn't want to know anything about her either. Zenobia. Sorry for interrupting me, but you said that your name is Issei, right, and also our partner, she said it calmly, although she thought that name was familiar, since her teacher told her about someone who was one of the 5 strongest exorcists in the church and could stab 2 fragments of Excalibur. Of course she wanted to know if it was true or not about that boy. Issei. Yes, I am her partner and I imagine that you learned it from Griselda, since she has the same last name, right? He said it with a smile, and Zenobia could only nod. Zenobia. Hey, how do you know my teacher? I said it curiously with Irina, since she saw that I didn't hold a grudge against her and could try a relationship. Issei. Yes, I know her because sometimes we are teammates when we do a mission, he said it calmly and receiving a nod from the two. Irina. And what does Issei call you, since she told us that we were going to meet one of the strongest members of Vatican and that he has a nickname? She said it curiously with Zenobia, since she also remembered that Sumister talks a lot about that Issei and now she has him in front of her. Issei. Well, I am known as the Vatican, the Star of Hope. I said it with a smile since Zenobia next to Irina had her eyes wide and her mouth on the ground, since everyone knew that title, she was one of the 5 strongest exorcists in Vatican. Zenobia. So you're it, she said it still surprised. Irina. That's where the Star of Hope is talked about in the Vatican, she said it still surprised because she couldn't imagine that the person who cruelly rejected and humiliated him was one of the 5 strongest exorcists in the Vatican. Issei. Anyway, let's go, we're scared that he'll attend tomorrow, he said it seriously and received a nod from Tu since he was one of his superiors. They started walking since they were scared of meeting the demons tomorrow, and along the way Zenobia found out that she always did missions with her teacher and she had a great admiration for Issei. Since he faced a lot of demons and fallen in Zenobia, she already believed her teacher and Irina just wanted to try to get into the relationship they once had when she was a child, and she wanted to be Issei's girlfriend. Poor soul, when she finds out that Issei already had a girlfriend and lost her chance since she saw that he did not hold a grudge against her and they saw that they arrived at a 2-story house and the place was comfortable. Issei. Let's go inside to rest, he said it calmly and Zenobia and Irina could only nod, and when they entered they saw that it was a really comfortable place and went to look for their rooms, and Issei decided to cook something to eat with the girl. With Irina. She was excited because she was going to have a chance for Issei to forgive her for the rejection she gave him in the past, since with the passage of time, she regretted that rejection since she let herself be blinded by Issei's brothers and those 2 demons, and she went downstairs since she heard her friend Zenobia that the food was ready and she went downstairs and found Issei and Zenobia. Starting that Zenobia liked. Irina. The food is ready, she said it with a smile and Issei could only nod along with Zenobia. Issei. Yes, and there is this, I said it calmly, look at her since I was talking to Zenobia and Irina could only look sad, but she sat next to Zenobia and began to eat. Zenobia. Tell me Issei, what is your sword Excalibur, since my teacher always talks to me a lot about you, she said it excitedly and Irina just paid attention and Issei just watched nervously since those 2 swords that were stolen from him were his. Issei. Actually, that sword that was stolen was mine, the Excalibur Rapidi sword. He said it with a nervous smile, although he was not going to tell her that he was a natural bearer of the Excalibur and that he had 2, that was the Rapidi and the Nocturnal. Of course, he was not going to tell her that he had 2 Excalibur swords. And the girl listens to that and is surprised since her sword was stolen by the fallen angels and she could not defend herself. Irina, Issei then can't defend you with the fallen angels and the demons, she said it worriedly and Issei looked at her. Issei. It is not really necessary since you can never use the skills of your sword, since that can be a great disadvantage against you and an advantage to your opponent, he said it wisely, something that they heard very well since it was true. Zenobia. Issei was wonderful, more than I heard from the Vatican and from my teacher, he said it with a star in his eyes along with Irina. Issei. Haha, it's not that big of a deal, and by the way, what is his sword, I said it curiously and Zenobia stands next to Irina. Zenobia. I have the Excalibur Sword of Destruction, he said it showing his sword that was big. Irina. I own the sword Excalibur Mimic, he said it while showing his sword, which was made into a bracelet on his arm. Issei. I see, you already finished dinner, if you want, you can take a break, I'm going to wash the dishes, he said it calmly and picked up the plate, and Zenobia just left since she was tired of listening to Issei's story, which was wonderful, and Irina saw this as an opportunity with Issei and followed him to the kitchen since Issei was there and decided to draw attention and did it. Issei. What does Irina need? He said it calmly and Irina just came a little closer and bowed as a sign of apology. Irina. Issei, I apologize for the harm I did to you in the past, she said it with a broken voice and Issei now understood. Issei. I don't really care about the past anymore, that's behind me, he said it calmly and Irina could only nod and wanted to see if he felt something for her. Irina. Issei, you still have feelings for me, he said it with a note on her cheek and Issei only paid attention. Issei. What does Irina mean? I said it curious since I didn't know what it said. Irina. I want to know if you feel something for me when you confessed to me when we were children, she said it with hope since this time I have reciprocated her feelings. But unfortunately for her, she heard something that hurt her, but at the same time she understood. Issei. I'm sorry, Irina, but I no longer feel anything for you, since another person occupied that place in my heart and is also my girlfriend. I'm very sorry, but I still hold a little grudge against you for the harm you did to me when we were together. And that day I left you as a mistress and you decided to be with Ikki. I was serious and leaving Irina alone in that place with a broken heart since Issei was right, she cruelly rejected him and decided to be with her brother and now he had a girlfriend. Irina. I just let myself be carried away by them, she said it in her sad thoughts and with some tears and decided to go to her room. But Issei he was on the terrace of the house and saw the stars that were beautiful, but then he heard the voice of his friend and companion. Rainbow Dragon. Tell me, Issei, must you have stopped feeling in love with that girl? He said it curiously and receiving a nod from Issei. Issei. Of course my friend, I was not going to be with a girl who did not love me and even more so when she rejected me cruelly and humiliated me. I was never going to love a person like that. He said it seriously and received a nod from his friend. Rainbow Dragon. Issei must be prepared for tomorrow when he has that meeting with the demons. He was serious and Issei just stayed silent and spoke. Issei. That would be very good and tell me, do you know the location of your rival? I meant it seriously. Rainbow Dragon. Not Issei, but I can assure you that his bearer is much stronger than before. I said it seriously and receiving a nod from Issei. Issei. Then I got a very strong carry that before. I said it seriously. Rainbow Dragon. You know Issei has to rest a lot, he shouldn't think about different things and remember that he still has to introduce you to me in a few days. He said it seriously and closed the communication with his friend and Issei could only nod and left because it was true he thought too much. The following days. Issei was in the kitchen cooking since he was going to the academy with the girls to have a meeting with the demons, but he saw that Zenobia and Irina came down and sat down. Issei. Good morning girl, he said it with a smile. They also greeted him and when they finished they calmly went to the academy, but Issei could only smile a little since Zenobia wanted to know more about him, but he told her that when he has time, he would tell her everything she wants to know and she agreed to, a little discouraged, and finally they arrived at the academy and decided to wait for a demon to pass and it did not take long since two black-haired girls approached, one was reading a book and the other had something on her sword and they stood in front of them. Sona. What are you doing as an envoy to the church in the demon territories? She said it would be, but she saw the black-haired boy since he looked like someone who once heard her and when the girl was talking, Issei went ahead since he had much more experience than them. Issei. I just want a meeting with the demons of this Sitri Air City. I said it seriously, which gave the two women a chill. Tsubaki. And why does he want to have a meeting against God and serve some demons? He said it would be and Issei just looked at him. Issei. We just came to take care of a scare that the demons have since the church has a problem against the fallen and we don't want you to get involved, that's all I'm going to tell you and I'll come at a time when no one is at this academy and I want you to be present with the Gremory. Let's go, he said seriously and left there with Zenobia and Irina and left the two girls there with a serious face. Sona. Tsubaki, let's go to the hidden club. I said it would be and leave with Tsubaki since this was serious. Latest time 6 p.m. Issei along with the girls were looking for the sword when he left for the academy, but they found nothing. So they decided to go to the academy since at that time there was no one and when they arrived they felt a demonic presence inside an old building and went there and decided to knock on the door. When he was a boy he entered with the girls and saw a group of 8 people with different colored hair and a red-haired girl stood in front of them, showing that she was not afraid of them. Rias. You are sent to the church. I said it with a smile and they just agreed, but Issei wanted to kill that redeed. Issei. That's it Gremory, I just want to clear up a scare with you, all. He said it seriously and saw a blonde whose face looked angry, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Sona. Okay, sit down, he said it would be, and they listened to him since he was tired in Issei's session, who had his guard up since he saw blonde's intentions that he wanted to kill the two girls. Rias. Let me introduce you to my entourage. This is my Queen Akeno, and my Tower Kaneko, and my Alphinasia Argento, and my Knight Kiba, and my pawns Ikki and Isai. I said it with a smile, and they just waved. Issei. I don't care about your environment, I just want you not to get into the fear of the church against the fallen. He said it seriously, since he was disgusted by this affront of those two. Sona. And what's scary is that we shouldn't get involved. I said it would be. Issei. I'll just say this, the third Excalibur sword has been stolen by the fallen. He said it seriously, and the blonde became more angry with his anger for that sword. Rias. And you think we are going to join the fallen? I said it would be. Issei. I know who I deal with, Gremory and Sitri, since you are the sister of Tumayu from the underworld, so I don't want to have a problem, you understand. He was serious and stood next to the girl, and when he was leaving, he stopped a blonde sword with his hand. And something broke it that everyone there was surprised and Issei looked at him seriously. Issei. What do you think you're doing, kid? I was serious. Kiba. I'm going to destroy that sword along with its bearer, he said it with hatred, but Issei hit him in the stomach and Rias got upset about that and grabbed his knight. Rias? What's wrong with you? She said it angrily since she doesn't even know that guy's name. Issei. He was the one who attacked to kill, I only defended myself, I said it calmly, and when he was leaving there with Irina and Zenobia, two people stood up to each other, this was Isai and Ikki. Ikki. We are going to fight, because of what you did to Kiba I was serious. Isai. We're not going to leave it. Hasty, I said it would be since that guy hurt her friend, and Issei looked at the girl, and they agreed since Issei defended her when he was going to kill her. Issei. Okay, let's go Irina and Zenobia, and if she dies don't come crying to me, he said it seriously and left there with the others, even though you laugh, Sona, Isai and Ikki were surprised that brunette is Irina and she left behind the academy. And Issei, Zenobia and Irina were already ready along with Ikki, Kiba and Isai, but Rias let him fight since the black-haired boy felt that he was hiding something like a sacred gear or something else. Issei. Who will Zenobia fight with, he said it with a smile, and Zenobia just looked at him. Zenobia. I'll fight Kiba, I said it would be because he was about to kill her. Kiba. We'll see, he said it seriously and moved away a little from the others, and Zenobia did the same and was in front of Kiba. Issei. I will fight with the great red dragon emperor of domination, he said it with a smile, something that surprised the others since he knew that Ikki was the red dragon emperor, but more to Rias, Sona, Isai and Ikki, plus the latter. Since he always used that title when he was a child and humiliates his younger brother. Ikki. Who are you really? He said it seriously and somewhat annoyed for reminding him of a part of his childhood that he hates. Issei. If he beats me, I'll tell you, Irina, you'll be in charge of the great cow karma dragon, the dragon queen Tiamat, she said it with a smile, and something that surprised everyone the most, but even more so Isai since she, like her brother, used the title of his dragon, and even more so when he humiliates his little younger brother. Isai. Who are you and how do you know that, he said it was annoying because it reminded him of a part of his childhood that he hates in his deepest heart. Issei. As I said, I'll tell him if he beats me. Irina could do me that favor. He said it calmly and Irina could only nod since she, like Zenobia, was not going to tell him her name since she wanted to remain hidden yet. Irina. Of course I don't see him, the problem is Isai, he said this with a smile and took out his sword with Zenobia and Isai, and Ikki took out his sacred gear and Issei just remained calm. But the demons. Sona. Tell me you laugh and see that your entourage can handle them, I said it would be serious and everyone paid attention. Rias. No, it won't TB, Kiba can defend himself with his speed and Isai and Ikki with dragon arm may have a small advantage, but who is he, I was saying it would be. Bakeno. What's wrong with the president, she said it curiously with her partner. Rias. I feel like he suppresses something, it's like he has a sacred gear or something like that, I said it would be, and something curious. Tsubaki. And if they had a sacred gear, why don't they use it? I said it seriously and somewhat confusing. Sona. We can't know that, we have to see what's going to happen, I said what it would be, and receiving an assent from everyone. Zenobia and Kiba. Zenobia took out her Excalibur sword, and the blonde just looked at that with hatred and made the sword grow on the ground, something that caught Issei's attention along with Zenobia who saw that. Zenobia. Sword birth, I remember now, it says that some of those who were involved in the sacred sword survived, and that was you, he said it would be, and Kiba just looked at him. Kiba. I'm going to avenge my friend, because of that sword they all died, he said it with anger to launch himself at Zenobia, who is easily dodged with his attack, and Issei just looked at that calmly, since he can also make it grow sword on the ground, but much more powerful. Irina. Come on Isai, I want to see if he has improved, I said it would be because she was one of those responsible for Issei no longer loving her. Isai. It's been a long time, Irina, but I think she hates me, and I imagine why, she said it would be a little sad, since she was the one who told him to humiliate Issei, and to reject her and to humiliate him. And she saw that Irina was going to attack, and she dodged with her glove, since Irina was very skilled and she had not trained. Issei. I think your sister is in serious trouble, right? All-powerful Sekirute, he said it mockingly, which bothered Ikki even more, and he threw himself at Issei who did nothing, and in a moment that no one saw him he was already behind him, and everyone was surprised by that speed, even Zenobia and Irina who saw Issei's fight for a moment. Issei. You are very weak, I have to admit that the Gremory knows how to place his bodyguard Ikki Hyodo, third son of the Hyodo family, next to Isai who comes as the second, and I wonder where that is in the other, he said it with a smile, and Ikki and Isai just looked at him surprised, since it seems that he knows about his brother, but that was not the only thing, they also laugh and sound. Ikki. You know him, he was serious, and Issei didn't say anything and walked to where the sword was on the ground and grabbed one, and Zenobia already defeated Kiba since he gained hatred for him, and Zenobia took advantage of that and beat him with ease. And he put Issei and Irina's side too, since it seems that Issei already wanted to leave here. Issei. You know, I'm surprised that your knight knows the birth of a sword, but it's very simple to learn, and everyone looked at him confused, since he knew the power of Kiba, since I can do it too, and surprised by everyone for that birth of a sword he said it seriously, and a lot of swords surrounded Ikki and Isai at their vital point, or rather it had him trapped since his entire body and part is surrounded by a sword and he laughed in worry about that. Rias. Hey, don't you think about killing him? She said it seriously and somewhat worried about the Hyodo brothers. Issei. I just wasted my time with a loser who only has the soul of the Red Emperor dragon and a girl who has the soul of a Tiamat dragon. Queen I said it seriously and offended the two dragon bearers, and Issei deactivated his attack and he was leaving that place until he heard a voice because he wanted to know who was in his territory. Sona. Tell me who is the fallen one who is in the demon territories. I said it would be, and they paid attention to everything. Issei. I think he has the right to know. One of the leaders of Gregory is Kakabiel. He said it calmly, and everyone was surprised to hear that. Rias. And he thinks he can beat a guy. Hasty. He said it seriously. Issei. That's not your problem, let's say Gremory. I said it calmly. Bekeno. She won't be able to handle him, that guy survived the great war between factions. She said it would be, but Issei ignored her, and when he was about to leave with the two girls a voice stopped him. Ikki. And tell me who you are and how you know all that, and that word he said it seriously and a little annoyed for making him remember several parts of his life, and Issei just looked at him, although he didn't care if he already knew it or not. Issei. Do you not remember me anymore? Maybe it was that long ago when you abandoned me on that island. It hurts me a lot, brothers. He said it seriously and left there with Irina and Zenobia since he didn't want to. He answers their stupid question. Chapter 5. Rias, Sona, Isai and Ikki had faces of astonishment or rather of surprise by that revelation that the black-haired man gave. He was his younger brother, the person who made him a hell, the person who tortured him days and nights. And his queen just looked at him somewhat curious since it was the first time that their kings did that, and the others too, since it seems that Ikki and Isai were the black-haired brothers since they never told anyone. Ikki. He was Issei. He said it surprised along with Isai since he was alive or not dead as he believed. Isai. He was my brother. She said it surprised and she started walking with Ikki since she wanted to talk to him, and she started running with Rias and Sona and the others to see that they followed her with Kiba since she could find the sword. Santa and Hasty searched the entire city of Kao and they couldn't find anything and some of them went home. But Ikki and Isai wanted to keep looking for him, but Rias already stopped since he wasn't going to find him and went to the house. Hyodo residence, and when they entered they saw two brunettes and they looked at them with a confused face since they did not know why their son had a happy and sad face, and when he was going to ask him Isai spoke. Isai. Mom, Issei is alive. He said it happily and the two adults heard that they were stunned because they couldn't believe it. Isai's father. Isai is sure it was him. He said it hoping it was him and he wanted to apologize for the harm he did to him and his wife and for him to return to form a family. He tells the demons everything that happened at the academy. Change of scene. Issei told everything to Zenobia since he was asking her for an answer as he was her brother, and she answered of course. She did not say anything about Irina since she did not want her to lose focus on the mission, and they returned to the house since they did not find anything either. Zenobia. Another day when we couldn't find the sword. I said it with tiredness. Issei. Actually we have to look for the places where the demons can be denying. She said it calmly and they looked at her with a little surprise. Irina. You knew that, Issei. I said it somewhat curiously, and Issei could only nod. Issei. Actually yes, remember that I already have more experience than you, and it is something very basic. He said it with a smile, and Zenobia and Irina could only nod. Zenobia. Then we have to look for the den of the demons denying in this city. I said it would be. Issei. Yes, but now you can rest. I'm sleepy and I'm sure they will look for me. He said it seriously and left there, and the two girls also did the same. The next day Issei, Irina and Zenobia were walking calmly on the street as they were going to eat something in a cafeteria, and when they were going to enter one, they saw that a group of 4 people was going in their direction, and they stopped. Issei. What do you want? He said it seriously and somewhat annoyed. Isai. Issei brother UX, but it didn't end because Issei had a finger pointed at his forehead. Issei. Tell me brother one more time and I'll kill you, you disgusting demon. He said it seriously and cold, something that gave a chill to everything in Hay, and even more so to Zenobia and Irina, since Issei always walks calmly, and Isai only backed away, since he saw what he said through. Ikki. Hey, he wants to kill some of your family, but it didn't end because Issei hit him in the stomach, but not with a lot of force, since there were people around him. Issei. Look, demon, I don't care if your family comes looking for me, tell him to stay away from me. He said it seriously and was about to leave, but a white-haired girl got in his way. Kaneko. We want to talk to you, he said it seriously, and Issei just looked at him with those blue eyes that shone a little, something that Kaneko or rather no one liked. Issei. What do you want, girl? He said it seriously because he was getting too upset. Kaneko. As I said, we want to talk to you, I said it would be, and Issei could only walk with Zenobia and Irina to the cafeteria and Issei stays at the door. Issei. Okay, but if he calls me brother or family, he better leave. He was serious and entered the cafeteria. And behind them were the four boys, and Issei asked for something to eat with Zenobia and Irina and with the demons. Who was in front of him, and when he finished he looked serious. Issei. Now what do you want, and be quick, I'm busy. I was serious. Ikki. We want to help you destroy the Excalibur sword, he said it seriously, even though he was his brother he was firm as an older brother. Issei. You destroy the Excalibur sword, you know what can happen to you, I said it with mockery, something that bothered the four of them. Kaneko. Only aware of irrigation, I said it would be. Zenobia. And what is the reason why you want to destroy her, I said it would be, and the demon tells her everything about Kiba, and they understood although Issei didn't care much. Issei. Well, if you want, I died for that sword, you can come in, he said it unchallengingly, something that Irina and Zenobia were surprised. Zenobia. What does Issei mean, he said it would be, and a little annoying since he wants to destroy his own sword. Issei. Zenobia, although I know my sword I can't leave it, Hasey, it is in the hand of our enemy, and I can no longer consider it a holy sword, I said it calmly and receiving a nod from the two girls. Issei. And also remember that the enemy is backed by Kakabiel himself, although that is not a bother for me, he said it with a smile, and receiving a nod from the two girls, while standing next to the demons, and leaving from there since he had to look for that blonde, and Hasey took 30 minutes to look for him, since he is in the park, and they explained everything to him, and he understood everything. Kiba. That's his plan, to be honest, I do N''T need the permission of the Excalibur bearer to destroy that trash, I was serious. Issei. You know, I think you didn't learn the lesson that Zenobia gave you, but I can understand your hatred towards the Excalibur sword. Yes, you're survivors of the Excalibur sword experiment, and the person responsible was expelled from the church called Valpurgalile. It was a disgusting journey. I was serious. Kiba. That was the one who killed my friend, he said it seriously and with some hate. Zenobia. And he also had a rebel exorcist, I said it would be. Issei. Tell me your answer now, although I don't need your help to defeat that exorcist, I only let you in so that you can destroy the sword yourself and so that you can protect yourself from that hatred, I meant it seriously. Kiba. Okay, I'll help you, I was serious. Issei. Okay, let's go, girl, and if you want me, follow me now, I meant it seriously, and leave with Irina and Zenobia. Saji. Wow, he really hates you like that, and why? I said it curiously, and Isai and Ikki didn't respond. Ikki. That doesn't matter, let's go with them, he said it seriously and a little sad and leaving with the others, but Kiba wanted to know why Issei hates his brother so much. And arriving at a church all destroyed, they recognized the place, and when they entered they saw Issei with different clothes that he always wore with a touch of black, and with headphones to listen to music. Saji. Hey, why does an exorcist wear those clothes and not a real exorcist? I was saying it curious. Issei. Actually, I like wearing these clothes since it's my favorite, I said it calmly, and to throw a cell phone that Kaneko took and a priest's clothes. Kaneko. And why is this? I said it seriously and somewhat curious. Issei. This will help you so that the renegades do not discover that you are demons, and that is a phone to communicate with us, he said it seriously and receiving a nod from everyone, and they changed quickly. Zenobia. Walking together we will find nothing, we have to separate, I said it would be. Issei. Well, let's go. Oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you out of pity, Ikki, Draig's rival has already woken up, I hope he trains, since he heard various rumors that his carrier is strong, he said it with mockery, and left next to the girl left Ikki with a surprised look, since Draig also talked about him. And he decided to leave Hay with his partner, and on the way he talked to Draig with a strange look. And since they didn't find anything, he went to a lonely place where there was no one. And they arrived where the prime demon kills, and a white-haired man came out with a sword and a crazy smile. Freed. Hi, he said it with a smile to attack, and the blonde dodged with a sword. We won't find each other again, boy, look at this Brad and Smurfette, how bad, I thought I found a couple of cool priests, but they didn't find a group of shitty demons, he said it with a big smile. Kaneko. Be very careful, Kiba, he said it would be, and he saw the Kiba attacked with Freed, and a lot of sword sound can be heard in different places. This is bad, I'd better call him, he said it would be, and took out the cell phone that he gave to Issei. Freed. Don't be patient too much, friend, because I'm also going to kill my beloved fan club, he said it with a smile and dodging a cut in Kiba. Ikki. He has a lot of speed, I can't give Kiba power, we have to hold him, he said it seriously, and Saji just nods, since his sacred gear could be that, and he summoned it and grabbed Fried's foot, and he wanted to destroy it, but he couldn't, and Ikki gives him the accumulated power and gives it to Kiba, and he releases all the power he received, and Yusen gives birth to a sword, and Fried just cut the sword that came out on the ground, and that everything hears a voice. Valper. Fried, you still need to control your power, it's obvious since you are not your natural body, he said it with a smile, and everyone looked at him. Fried. But it's the old Valper, he said it calmly and angry for Kiba. Kiba. That's why he killed my partner, he said it seriously and with hatred. Fried. Man, I'm in trouble, that lizard's tongue has trapped me, I said it with anger. Valper. Send your power like this with the sword, and it can give it more strength, he said it with a smile, and Fried pays attention to him. Fried. All my power to the sword, he said it with a smile, and the sword began to shine a golden color and breaking the line, and he looked at Kiba, and he looked at his intentions, he quickly pulled out his sword, but another sword got in the way for a moment. Black with a normal sword, something that surprised the others, and they saw that two people came out behind Saji and Kaneko. Arena. We arrived on time, she said it happily. Saji. But how did you get here? He said it curiously and a little cheerfully. Kaneko. Remember that it was the plan I said it would be, and showed the cell phone. Zenovia. I have to admit Issei is pretty good at resisting a holy sword against a normal one, he said it with amazement. Issei. Damn, if I have it in my hand now, I was serious about kicking him, and he sent him to the ground with Valper, who stood next to him, and he looked seriously at Issei. Valper. Your job is to eliminate all the exorcists that come, and also that guy is not someone who can do it alone, since the owner of that sword, and there are also two women who have a sacred sword, must be removed. Now I said it seriously, and Fried looks at him seriously. Fried. I see, then as you order, old man, he said it this time seriously, since he knew the owner of this sword was someone very skilled, and he took out a small sphere and threw it on the ground, and a light shielded everything, and Issei and Kiba threw themselves on top of them, but they were already gone. Issei. Damn it, he's gone, he said it, annoying somewhat. Issei. Let's go, Irina and Zenovia. I was serious, and I ran out with the two mentioned, and the three boys wanted to catch up with them, but they couldn't because I heard two voices behind them, and two magic circles came out and two women came out. There is each magic circle. Issei, Zenovia and Irina are jumping over the trees looking at every place, and they found nothing, since it seems that they also used the sword skill, and saw apart that Sorubio who was next to him. Issei. He left, he said it seriously and a little upset. Irina. And now where are we going, I said it curiously. Issei. Let's go and rest, and Kiba, if it were you, go and rest, tomorrow we will search, he said it seriously, and Kiba looked at him seriously. Kiba. No, I'm going to look for him, he said it seriously, and Issei looks at him seriously. Issei. Understand, this must be in your fifth sense, he said it seriously and ready to leave with the two girls, since he was also tired. Kiba. Why does he hate your brother so much? I was serious. Issei. Like your Kiba, I also suffered a past like you, but not for bus, but it didn't end because his phone rang a flame, and he saw the symbol of the angels, and he moved away from them a little. Issei. Yes, it happened, Gabriel, I said it seriously, since this must be very urgent. Gabriel. Hello Issei, I would like to talk to you, but this is not the time. We discovered that there is a nest of renegade demons in the city, and they are doing something strange, and Michael wants me to go investigate, I said it seriously, and Issei just answered. Issei. And it's for today or what, he said something curious. Gabriel. Actually you can go tomorrow, bye Issei, he said this to close the communication, and Issei approaches the girls. Issei. Let's go, girl, it seems that tomorrow I'm going to be busy, he said it seriously and receiving a nod from the two and leaving from there. The next day Issei prepared everything for the girl to have breakfast and left her a note that he had already left the house and would see him later. Issei walked to the place where the demons were cursing and saw that he was in an abandoned mansion, and it was very far from the city, and that is why no one could find him, and he raised a barrier so that no one would feel his presence, and the demons that were inside the mansion realized and came out who he was and saw that he was a human, and they thought he was a magician since he raised a barrier. Demon 1. That I am a human or a magician? I was serious since this was not a simple barrier. Issei. I'm sorry, but I don't have time to waste on you, I meant it seriously. Demon 4. A human, he is very confident, look, we are more than you, he said it with a smile and superiority. Issei. I want to see him defeat me, he said it with a smile and got into battle pose. I spent 4 hours fighting with this renegade demon, since he was too much and a little powerful, but he didn't want to use much more power, so that the Gremory and Sitri would not notice. Issei. I admitted his power, but it was very weak, he said it calmly, and went in to see that Hasey, and when he entered he was turned into stone since there was a human body, children, women with pleading faces, and Issei only looked at that body with pity and anger. Against that demon from Clan Sitri and Gremory, since it does not do its job and only needs the person who has sacred gear, and I decide to cure the person's body, and of course first he took a photo of what the place was like and gathered the corpses in a row, and he went deeper into whether there was something or not, and he only saw a box and decided to open it and saw that there were several Phoenix tears, and I decided to count it, and there were 30 Phoenix tears, and I called Gabriel so that you could find the relatives of this person who in total there were 25 people who suffered a lot. Gabriel. Hello, Issei, what's going on? You'll take care of that, devil. She said it calmly, and I only heard that Issei was shedding some tears, and that worried her. Issei. Yes, I'll take care of that, demon, but there was nothing dangerous, but Issei remained silent, and Gabriel spoke. Gabriel. There's no need to find you, I said it worried, and this time Issei spoke. Issei. There were many human bodies such as children and women and very few men who suffered here, and that damn clans of Gremory and Sitri did nothing, he said it with hatred in his voice, and Gabriel was only surprised by that and also became sad since he knew that Issei didn't like that and it made him remember if it happened. Gabriel. Can you send me all the body of the person and to find his family so they can bury him? He said it sadly. Issei. Yes, and I'm also going to send you a box of Phoenix tears for the door to use, he said it calmly and received a nod from Gabriel and closed the communication. Issei made a magic circle and was left with a Phoenix tear since he did not need it, only in case of an emergency, and the bodies disappeared, and Issei, seeing that there was nothing, rested a little. Rainbow Dragon. Buddy, how do you feel about seeing that? He said this worried about his partner and friend of hers. Issei. I feel devastated, imagine that I was going to see this, I must have suffered because of that demon, he said it seriously and receiving a nod from his friend since he agreed. Rainbow Dragon. Issei is right, but you have to meet the two girls, since it's getting late, he was serious and received a nod from Issei, and the colored sphere disappeared in his hand. Issei began to walk and deactivated the barrier that he had around him, and when he deactivated it, he felt a weak energy, and Issei only had one thought, Irina, since that was Irina's energy, and he decided to run too fast, since he also felt the energy of that demon, but he had a Phoenix tear, and it took him 3 minutes as he jumped over the trees with great speed, and when he saw a dark blue magic circle he came out, and it was Sona and her Queen Tsubaki. Ikki. Irina has to resist, she said it worried because once she was her friend. Asia. You can improve it now, but I can't get its energy back, she said it worriedly. Sona. I'll take care of that, there is a machine in my house, I said it would be, and when I was going to record everything they heard a voice. Issei. Leave her there, he said it seriously and went out into the trees, and everyone looked at him. Rias. What does Issei say? If we leave her there she could die, he said it would be, and he didn't take him into account and continued on his way and grabbed Irina, and he took out a bottle and poured it on Irina, and the demons were surprised since it was a Phoenix tear. Issei. That's it, he said it relieved for Irina's health, and he carried her as a princess. Sona. Since she has Phoenix tears, only the demons, I said it would be, and Issei looks at her with serious and cold eyes, and threw her an envelope. Issei. Take this. You have to protect humans and I think you're not doing it well, demon. He said it seriously, and when Sona was going to check what it was and a voice was present and Sona decided to keep that. Freed. Fence, the whole rat fell into the trap, I haven't seen him in a while, piece of shit, he said it with a smile and laughs, and Sona together with Akeno they faced each other, but Issei calmly walked past the winged demon Olympianly. Issei. He has stolen Irina's holy sword, and not only that, he also has mine, and the night sword Excalibur and transparent nightmare. In total, he has 4 holy swords, he said it with a smile and surprised the others, and Freed only taught himself what he had in his trench coat, showed the 4 Excalibur sword he had. Freed. Very interesting, but I want to talk to the tomato hair, he said it with a smile and laughs, just looks at him. Rias. With me, because she said it confused. Freed. Or rather my boss, he said it with a smile, and the sky turned black and a touch purple, and everyone put on a serious face. Akeno. She has 10 wings, she is a supreme level, I said it would be, and a little worried. Kakabiel. First time we met heirs of the Gremory, my name is Kakabiel, he said with a smile showing his sharp teeth. Rias. Nice to meet you, supreme fallen angel, my name is Rai, but Issei interrupted him. Issei. Yeah, whatever, if anyone wants to know your name, tomato hair, he said it seriously, and Risa just lowered his head since he knew that Issei had a grudge against him, and Kakabiel looked at him somewhat seriously, and he already had the aura of an angel. Issei. Now tell me what Kakabiel is doing here, he said it seriously, since he was always serious when it was this type of situation. Kakabiel. I just want to go to the Cow Academy. I imagine that if the barracks generate the Gremory and if I go, Surziches will come, right? He said it with a smile and laughed. He just put on a serious face. Rias. If you do that, it would cause another war against God, the world, the two demons, and also the fallen angels. I said it would be. Becabiel. I wanted Seraphim Michael himself. To come for the Excalibur, but he didn't send me weak exorcists, and that's not enough for me. I need something bigger than that. He said this with a big evil smile. Issei. Then your objective is to cause a war against the angels, fallen and demon. I meant it seriously. Becabiel. You've said it, that's what I want. You don't know how bored I am when the war between the three sides is over, not even Azazel wants another war. One said it with mockery. Issei. He knows very well that Azazel is no longer interested in war, and he became very obsessed with sacred objects. He meant it seriously. Becabiel. You are very well informed, child. God, the angels have fallen, and the demon world is about to start another war. I can shake the bomb a little, so that happens. He said it with a smile. Issei. He has a great obsession about a Becabiel war. He was serious. Becabiel. Idiot, you are going to help me to achieve my goal, sister of Lucifer Rias Gremory and sister of Leviathan Sona Sitri. The place where she studies is full of a lot of magic and enough powers to start a war. He said, he smiling and standing on his throne. Ikki. You're a madman. I was serious. Isai. He is completely crazy. I said it would be. Becabiel. Let the war begin, younger sister of King Lucifer, Rias Gremory. He said it to understand his hand, and a magic circle appeared, and a spear of light appeared, and Rias and Sona made a barrier, and Issei only dodged that since he had arena between his arm and Becabiel. With freed, he left. Saji. Damn, where are we going? I meant it seriously. Kaneko. He went to the Cow Academy. He said it would be, and everything looked in Kaneko's direction. Ikki. That guy was serious. He was serious and worried. Issei. Wow, if this continues it would cause a war between the demons, angels and fallen, and a cadre with this level can destroy the city so easily. He said it calmly, and everyone looked at him. Rias. Issei, we need work, but Issei interrupted him. Issei. I don't work with a disgusting demon, and he knows what I'm talking about, Gremory and Sitri, and the Hyodo brothers. I meant it seriously, and get out of there. Sona. Is he afraid of Becabiel, and we know what we did to you in the past? He said it seriously and somewhat sadly. Issei. First of all, I'm not afraid of a cadre since I can defeat him so easily, and second, I don't care about his life because I kill him, and also the Hyodo family, I don't care about their life. He said it seriously and left there with Arena since he was going to leave her at the house. Rias. I think we should face each other. I said it seriously and sadly since it seems like I was never going to have Issei's forgiveness. Sona. Let's go. He said it would be and leave that place with the others, and he went to the Cow Academy, and when they arrived they raised a barrier so that the harm would not escape. Sona. Rias, we need the help of the Demon King to communicate with your brother. I said it would be. Rias. In that case, why doesn't he call your sister? He said it with a smile. Sona. I don't trust my sister, and even more so when Issei left to help us. I said it seriously and angry for Issei since he said he had enough powers to defeat Becabiel from the beginning. Bekeno. I already contacted the Demon King Surziches. He said he would come in an hour. He said it would be, and Rias looks at him. Rias. I didn't ask you to do that. I said it would be. Bekeno. Look, Rias, I understand that you don't want to give your brother a problem, but we are going to face a fallen angel that we are not at his level. I said it would be, and Rias, she just stayed silent, and they all entered the barrier to face the enemy, and they saw Becabiel, who was sitting on a throne. Becabiel. I understand that old man plans to unite the sword. He said it with a smile. Rias. It's better that Becabiel protects you so that he doesn't start a war. One said it would be. Becabiel. I already warned Surzicher Seraphil. I said it calmly. Rias. Let me tell you that he will not fight with my brother, and much less with Seraphil. I said it calmly. Becabiel. I'm so bored. He said it to create a spear of light and destroy in the gym with ease and surprised everyone and a little scared. It was mostly fun. He said it boring and left some people afraid. Ikki. He destroyed the gym with a spear of light. He said it in surprise and fear. Draig. I see you somewhat distressed, my friend. I said it calmly. Isai. That spear of light is bigger than I have ever seen in my life. I said it would be, and a light covered Isai's torso. Tiamat. Maybe that guy is right. He fought against the devil and God himself a long time ago and managed to survive that war. I was saying it would be. Ikki. Damn, and there's no way to beat him. I was serious. Draig. If things get more dangerous, I'll transform your body into a dragon. I was serious. Tiamat. And that also applies to you, Isai. I said it would be the Dragon Queen. Isai. Grace Tiamat. I said it with a smile. Draig. And it's a shame that that boy isn't here since he told the truth that Issei could defeat Kakabiel. He said it seriously and surprised everyone there. Rias. So he didn't tell a lie, he said it would be, and he was a little angry about it and he wanted Issei to be his nobility. Kakabiel. Since he stopped coming, I'll leave him with my pet, he said it with a smile, and let the severe ones see something that everyone there was on guard, since they recognized that the dog was the guard at the gate of hell. And Rias, Akeno and Kaneko went to attack, although it didn't do much damage, and Isai saw that he was going to attack Asia and went to protect her, and they did notice that Issei was seeing that. Issei. They are very weak and he wants to face a cadre, he said it in his thoughts. Rainbow Dragon. Mate, when will you come? And I was serious. Issei. Right now, since Zenovia entered with that blonde. Goodbye, partner, he said it calmly and received a friend's nod and closed the communication. Issei saw that the girl named Asia was going to be killed by Severus, but in a quick movement he came out and cut Severus in half, and everyone looked at him in surprise. Issei. You'll miss me, he said it with a smile, and Issei and Ikki, and a silver-haired man who was outside the barrier, felt a chill because of that sword, and Kakabiel looked at him somewhat seriously, since he recognized that sword. Kakabiel. Boy, where did you get that sword? I was serious. Issei. This sword was given to me in the Vatican, he said it with a smile, and Isai and Ikki just moved away from Issei, since that sword gave them chills. Kakabiel. And who gave it to you? I was serious. Issei. Well, the great Seraph Gabriel gave it to me, she said it with a smile and surprised everyone that Issei knew a Seraph and more Gabriel, since she says that she is the most powerful among the Seraph, along with her brother Michael. Rias. It has to be a joke, I said it surprised since I couldn't reincarnate Issei as I had planned. Kakabiel. This got more interesting, he said it with a smile, and saw that Ikki gave power to Rias and Akeno, who killed two severe with ease, and Rias attacked Kakabiel, but he dodged it easily, and saw that the old man already joined the four sword, and Kakabiel rose from his throne. Kakabiel. If you want to stop me, you have to kill me, he said it with a smile, and Rias threw a power of destruction at him with Akeno, and he united the two powers and threw it at Rias. But Akeno got in the way and completely resented the attack silly, and Issei just looked at that calmly, and Ikki grabbed Akeno, and Asia healed Akeno, and saw that Kiba approached that old man, but Kakabiel made a spear of light, and Kakabiel ordered Fried to take the sword and kill that rat. Fried. Let's see my new remodeled sword. Dexia to grab it and throw himself at them, but Zenovia threw herself at Fried, but he uses one of the sword's abilities and gets out of there and appears behind her, but she dodges him and they kick him in the face and angers Fried and uses another sword ability, and each one uses the ability of the Excalibur sword, but Issei gets in the way to kick Fried. Issei. Hey Zenovia, why don't you use that sword that is winged with yours, he said it with a smile, and Zenovia just looks at him with a surprised face since she realized it, and when she was doing it, she saw Kiba next to Issei and saw that he was talking and told him he gave a crystal that had his friend's soul, something that made everyone angry. Fried. Hahaha, that lab rat didn't survive because of power, he said it with a psychopathic smile to buck Kaneko and Isai to cut him in half. And Kiba picked up the crystal to put it to his chest, and his friend's soul covered Kiba's body, and they stood next to him, and they had a little conversation and they worked together. Issei. What has been achieved, he said it with a smile. Zenovia. What does Issei mean, I said it curiously, and everything paid attention to it. Issei. His friend's dreams and hopes have worked, and the sacred gear Recive is motivation to reach the balance breaker, he said it calmly, and receiving a nod from everything, although he was surprised that Issei knows a lot. Kiba. My friend did not want revenge, but I must eliminate the evil that exists in this world. He was serious and took out a sword, and Fried stood in front of the old man, and Kiba made the sword holy and demon. Issei. This must be done since God is not alive and can unite the two powers, he said it seriously, and receiving a nod from his friend the Rainbow Dragon. Zenovia. Come on, Knight of Rias Gremory, I suppose we are still allies in this, and if so, then we have to destroy that sword. I said it seriously and that it was next to him. Kiba. Are you sure I meant it seriously? Zenovia. It will be considered a holy sword, but it has nothing holy about it, since the enemy's hand is there, he said it would be, and he began to resist a chant, and a magic circle was made, and from there another chained sword came out, and they saw everything surprised. Kiba. It's someone else, he said it surprised. Issei. It is the same level as the original Excalibur sword, only that Zenovia does not know how to use it very well, and that is why she has it stored in a pocket dimension, he said it seriously and grabbed the sword of destruction, something that surprised everyone. Zenovia. And how do you know that, Issei, and can you record destruction? She said it surprised along with the others. Issei. Actually, just like you, Zenovia, I am also a natural wielder of Excalibur, and I can grab all the swords, and you can only grab Durandal. I said it seriously and everyone opened their eyes wide since they didn't know that Issei was a natural wielder. Valper. It has to be a joke, he said it surprised and scared. Issei. Let's see that it has destruction, I said it with a smile to give it a little power, and for this behind freed something that surprised everyone and Ikki himself. Issei. Even though he has the ability to use the 4 Excalibur swords, he doesn't know how to use them very well, and I also want to end this. I was serious and cut the sword that Fried resisted a little, but Kiba launched it to give him a cut, but Fried did. I have dodged but Kiba cut the sword in half. Alper. That is so difficult to believe that two very opposite forces are working. I understand that everything now makes sense, and the holy and demonic powers work. That means that Santa and God himself are, but it didn't end because Ikki he threw him a spear of light. I killed him. Ikki. Valper, you were very smart to come to that conclusion, it's proof of them, he said it with a smile, and then he went down to the ground and put his wings away. Rias. Ikki, now that it is planned, I said it would be. Ikki. I'm already bored of this. Hey boy, why don't you give Issei the power to entertain me? He said it with a smile, and Ikki just looked at him seriously. Issei. I don't touch trash, he said it with a smile, something that bothered everyone. Ikki. You know if you don't do it you might die, he said it with a smile. Issei. Do you know something, Ikki, and I imagine you know what I'm talking about. In heaven it was said that there is a seraphim that surpasses the 4 great seraphim, right? He said it with a smile, and everyone paid attention to him since what Issei said was true. Ikki. Do you know him, he said it calmly and receiving a nod from Issei. Issei. Of course I know him since he's right in front of your eyes, he said it with a smile, and everything only opened their eyes wide until Ikki thought it was a lie. Ikki. Don't make me laugh, boy, some of my men say that he has blue wings, and you are a human, he said it mockingly. Issei. I want you to treat your pride, Ikki, since I never said for a moment that I am a human, since I am the Joker of the Seraph Gabriel, he said it seriously, and breaking the seal that he had for his aura, and letting see 12 light blue wings and very beautiful inside of everyone and everyone now, if he had his eyes like plates and his mouth to the ground, even Ikki himself, and also the two dragons were seeing that like Draig and Tiamat. They were also surprised since they also paid attention to Issei, and Draig wanted Issei to be his bearer since the level of his wings and plus the sacred power that he released was everything that he was on another level. Poor soul of Draig when he knows that Issei carries a rainbow dragon. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.